DJ is stupid and he's also dumb. Even though he's blonde, he's not very fun. He has his own talk show. It's every gamer's dream. It's a crazy little talk show, and it's called Cookies and Cream.
Hey there, it's me, Cookies. If you click this video, you either really love the hit series From on MGM Plus, or want to see what all the hype is about. I've seen all sorts of crazed theories on this series. Is it a purgatory where everyone present died in a fatal massive car collision? Is Victor simply a character with severe bipolar disorder dealing with the death of his family? Is this entire town part of a government experiment? What if I told you the next 2 to 3 hours will evolve your entire perception of the show, its characters, and where the series is heading in Season 4? Dare I say I may even have unlocked this Pandora's box of a story with answers that will change how you digest the show moving forward. Probably piss off the show writers as well, because I got this shit figured out. Without further ado, board up your windows, hang up your talismans, and let's get right to it.
We gotta get out of this place. If it's the last thing we ever do.
They're coming. There's only so many places we can go.
We gotta get out of this place.
What are they?
If it's the
You believe in monsters?
Please don't.
A man protects his family.
Now it feels best to break down each episode with a brief summary. In that summary we will note any new characters or major moments in their character development. From there we will then point out any rules we learn about the town, and special details that will come into play later. Unfortunately, I have spent the majority of this show's budget on Cold Stone this year, so we will be doing this live screen presentation to help keep tabs on important details, characters, and connections. Deaths too, because that's the fun. Before we move forward, I think it's best to lay the foundation of the show before jumping into each season. From takes place in an isolated town where once you enter, you are stuck within its borders like a spiderweb of sorts.
Hot diggity dog! This place is magnificent.
It follows a group of survivors who have been trapped as they collectively work together towards understanding why they are there and how to make it back home. What makes From frightening, to the point Stephen King himself has called it a masterclass, is within the horrors of the night. We have these demonic human beings who stay creeping
at night,
essentially gaslighting people into getting killed. It's quite amusing, and in many cases, episodes focus on this slow burn style tension until all shit hits the fan, making for that Pringle jingle fun, right? You got the can, you pop it open, you eat a Pringle, hey guess what? You want another Pringle. Now before we recount episode 1, I need to preface one major rule for this video. If a character mentions a theory, it is considered wrong or half-baked, meaning it is clearly not the answer we are looking for. That being said, every theory tends to have one rule within it that is applicable to the grander mystery at hand. With all of this in play, let's get to our theory crafting for what I call the Kamapa's Box Theory. Working title.
What happens next is my favorite part.
Episode 1 opens up by establishing the most critical rule of the world. Families stay protected from these creatures by boarding up their homes and placing this special talisman above the openings.
We knew that we wanted our creatures very much to maintain a human quality.
The creatures who look really normal at one point and then turn into monsters.
They come out of the woods at night looking like a creepy librarian, your neighbor's a worker or a milkman.
They take the form of somebody who that character would probably be close with. So Julie sees a young guy that maybe she knows from school.
Don't you recognize me?
They come at you smiling. They come with a seduction and with an enticement.
When can I come inside?
They enjoy it, these monsters in this place. They enjoy inflicting harm.
They never run, which is even creepier. Because you know why? They don't have to.
There is a husk outside that is human, but there is something deeper in them. When it does come out, it's almost demonic. It's horrific.
We started off with that image of the Pope by Francis Bacon, the English painter. I always thought he was painting people on the inside, not the outside.
We had a one-piece face and a cowl. So the cowl would be the whole neck and the back of the head. And then we would have another appliance, which would be this entire face.
The eyepieces themselves, they're not real. Visual effects will go in, take those eyes out, and replace them with CGI.
And we had these fangs that we put inside their actual mouth.
We'll take that bottom piece of the mouth. We'll replace all that. We can get it really wide, feel it like stretching.
I had this special mouth dye, and you put about a drop or two in, and it stains their tongue, their mouth, their teeth.
They are intelligent creatures, and we're going to find out more about that.
Almost like a dream catcher or get out of jail free card. Unfortunately for this young girl and mother, the daughter fucks around and finds out that this old granny is lusting for blood and both get slaughtered. In comes our first main lead of the show, Boyd, a sheriff who became trapped here with his family, whom we'll get to later. Boyd runs into the father of this slaughtered family and gives him a piece of his mind for passing out drunk and not defending him in time of need, sending him to jail. Guy's name is Frank. Don't be like Frank. We transition to a brand new family, Jim, Tabitha, and their two kids, Ethan and Julie, also known as the Matthews. Julie creates a story for Ethan that goes into monsters and what happens when people die. This rightfully pisses off the parents, who get caught up with a tree that has fallen in the road. After passing through, they come to the town during the burial of the family that got 86'd earlier. In this scene, we meet a few more noteworthy characters from the show. Kenny, who is Boyd's deputy, Father Khatri, who is the town pastor, and Donna, who leads one of the houses in the town, also referred to as Colony House. Of course, Jim and Boyd exchange some words over how to get out of town, which Boyd mercifully allows the family to realize they are stuck themselves. With some heightened tension, the family gets into a collision with another car driven by two guys tripping on drugs. For sake of ease, we got two characters by the name of Jade and Toby, leading to the first pivotal moment of the series. We have people now injured outside the town with no way of defending themselves. Boyd notices it's been far too long since the family entered the loop and essentially goes out with the town medic Christy and Kenny. Boyd and crew find the wreck and of course injuries galore. Most notably, Ethan, who is pinned down. The plan goes that Kenny returns to town for help while Boyd works on the boy and giving the exposition of how the town itself operates. By the end of the episode, we have Kenny and crew bringing members of the family back, except for Jim, who decides to stay with Boyd and the medic until morning. With nightfall, there wasn't enough time to get Ethan out. Moving on, we have Julie, Kenny, and Khatri, with the crew storming back to their home base. Dumbasses forgot they left spike strips out, which was a method used to strand people caught in the loop, and now they have to book it on foot. Thankfully, they make it in safe until Julie sees a strange male figure in the crowd who recognizes her, but she has no idea who he is. The Frumley wiki refers to him as creepy youth monster, so we'll slide him here for now. Inside, all hell breaks loose as our big new man on the block, Jade, is freaking out and begging to see his friend Toby. He gets knocked the fuck out, and newbie Trudy has some interesting comments, quote unquote, about Jade's watch and the things she wants to do to him, sexually, while he's unconscious in bed.
Stop! Don't touch me there! This is my no-no square!
Pay attention over here, cause soon it becomes clear that Donna is the leader of Colony House, and it appears to be a civil division within the town. I think now is a good time to take a look at some of the characters in said Colony House. Beyond Donna, you have Ellis, who is Boyd's son, and apparently they have not been on good terms for some time. Fatima, who is Ellis's lover, and Victor. Victor is the heart and soul of the show, and more on him later. Right now, all you need to know is he's the weird kid on the block, except he's in his 40s, enjoys himself some peaches, and speaking in a disjointed manner. Julie shows some fear towards Victor, but most of the house claim he's harmless. This portion of the plot centers around Julie getting the talk from members of the house over her new life, what this town is, and how they do things. Interesting enough, both Katri and Donna have unique methods of briefing the new blood. Katri with wisdom and a manner of making the insane look sane with his biblical knowledge, and Donna whips out the good old Jackie D and says, "Fuck it, let's party." We also get to learn that unfortunately the Matthews family was on one final vacation before Jim and Tabitha were getting divorced. Sadly, they had their third kid by the name of Thomas, who died by accident falling over a table as he was getting changed. You may be curious about that RV portion, and they make it to sunrise. We see the talisman placed on the RV work wonders, even though it was the first attempt outside a house, and the crew make it back to Frumville. It's just what we're going to call the town. It is what it is. I don't make the rules. When everyone is back in town, we finally get a breakdown of the politics here. And I'm going to keep it clean for you. Colony House is led by Donna, who are essentially hippies. They smoke weed, they fornicate, and stay together under one main house. They share everything. You then have the town, which is a neighborhood where families live under their own roofs under different rules, with curfews in place and more privacy. This division came from people wanting to live differently as they see fit. Shocker, right? Both providing services for one another and stay out of each other's way. Colony House handles food and crops, while the townhouse is the diner for people to come to eat, a sheriff's station to keep the peace, a makeshift church led by Katri, and a medical facility where Christy handles those kind of sort of barely alive. Some major revelations come to light as people begin opening up a bit more about themselves. Donna was hunting with her sister, who unfortunately was killed off screen. This gives us the knowledge that everyone who enters the town come to the same tree fallen in the woods. Kenny and his mom, who now runs the diner, were taking his dad to the hospital as he suffers from late-stage dementia. Boyd and his family were on vacation as he was recently considering retirement. Katri, of all, had the most interesting take, but more on that later as crazy shit soon hits the fan. Jade's friend Toby. Yeah, a member of the town murders him in cold blood, and then allows more creatures into the facility, all of whom kill Kenny's dad and some of the staff. This is a nice segue into two of the town's most interesting characters. We have Sarah and Victor. Both of these two show what the town can do to one's psyche, two halves to the same coin. We'll start with Sarah. She is notably the worker in the town diner, being quite timid and receiving carvings into her arm instructing her to kill a boy, all compounded by voices in her head telling her to commit such vile acts like the one that led to Kenny's dad getting got. She lives with her brother Nathan in the local farm, and both of these two oversee the wildlife that make it to the town. Victor, however, has been the longest running member of this place. Long before anyone else made it here, he has survived so long that he has developed his own ways of communicating. He still speaks as if he's a young boy, draws pictures that illustrate events to come, and also is hyper-fixated on tracking down trees that continue to move every single day. A lot of crazy events happen in Season 1, so let's do a rapid-fire recap of the most pivotal. First, Ethan begins developing a friendship with Victor, while also beginning to see strange visions of this boy in white. After everything settles down from the previous day, Jim and fam attend an event where, for surviving one day, they win the ability to pick which house they would stay in. Of course, Julie pulls the shit and picks Colony House, while Jim and such go to the town. This causes a skirmish that is only settled when Jade pops in, believing all of this is a joke, and demands to find the hidden clues Toby has left out for him. I personally love Jade in this season, and his pompous billionaire attitude and way of thinking forces him to be cynical on everything, until Kenny shows him his dead friend in a grave. Now, while Jade is losing his shit, why don't we cut back to some of his grander moments.
Is that for me?
Excuse me?
Hey, do you have anything motorized? Like a scooter or something?
No.
Okay, this will do. Thank you.
That's my.
I'll figure it out.
Don't go, Frank! God damn, I love this! It's scary! It's dramatic! It's okay, whoa, big fella.
I'm sure you would have figured it out eventually. Do you guys have any snacks?
Like and subscribe, follow me here, follow me there, follow me everywhere. Let's go game with a purpose. Like and subscribe, follow me here, follow me there, follow me everywhere. Let's go game with a purpose.
Around this time, we are also shown the box. For those in the town who go against the rules, they spend the night out there. And let's just say it doesn't end well. Some brutality to force everyone to stay in line. Of course, this does not stop Jade from pursuing answers as he stumbles upon an abandoned cellar. Going in, he sees a vision of a dead Civil War soldier under a boulder and a red symbol of sorts. After a cheap jump scare that kinda sucks, to keep things fresh, I guess, it disappears. Jim and his family that aren't here to start shit are taken to the house in town they have now. Of course, living in the same house where Frank and his family unfortunately had their incident. Speaking of Frank, Boyd has a change of heart. He doesn't want him to go in the box. Boyd wants the box as a scared tactic. He knows Frank won't survive. So Boyd gives him a way out with this talisman. Leave town to a nearby shack and never come back. At the choosing ceremony, Frank reveals himself, has quite an incredible monologue regarding his mental state and the necessity to have something to fight for, and elects to punish himself by going into the box. Honoring the code of the town, realizing he only wishes to see his family, if not one more time. The same he took for granted, and getting torn to shreds by the creatures in the night. This scene was quite powerful, reflecting the state of the town, and Boyd, who fights with himself to the last second on whether to save Frank, who arguably has given up on himself long before his family died by his negligence. Also, conveying the idea that the further humanity evolves, well, let's say there are some rudimentary tricks that time never forgets. Which, fun fact. Yeah, it's the first one I'm pulling up in this video. I'm going to be doing some fun facts, and this is the image that's going to pop out. Have fun, enjoy it. The box scene was the original concept pitched to the production studio, long before the idea of a town and a loop came into play with the script. Moving forward, we begin seeing flashbacks of Victor and how he survived. It's shown he hid out in the abandoned cellar until he was the last one standing. Except he too can see the boy in white just like Ethan. This all leads to the revelation Victor himself is struggling with dreams and thoughts, determining what actually happened, aka amnesia. We get further looks into Jade's ideas for the town, and members of the Jim family begin writing details and connections dotting all throughout their home, trying to piece together the grander mystery. This parallels Ethan, who has been told as a coping mechanism that they are on a magical quest to save the kingdom. We get some family dynamics where Jim wants Victor to stay away, and Tabitha dearly misses Julie, who is living it up in Colony House. All of which culminates in a scene where Kenny shows Jade a US map that shows the tree in the woods has appeared all over the US. Meaning the tree is the same, but the location constantly shifts. Jade discovers the radio in the station is emitting a frequency and of course takes it. What's even more crucial is how we soon learn that there are trees in the forest that move called faraway trees. Victor shows Ethan how this works with a rock. You go in them and you reappear in a random place. The same trees Victor has been tracking down as they too move. Victor again finds out Jim's rage as he continued pursuit of Ethan. It means a face-off in the forest that scares Victor away, in which Jim sees a random dog barking. After a job well done, sort of, Jim's family eats at the diner where Sarah's arm does get the carving, telling her to kill the boy, which she assumes is Ethan. Season 1 picks up as soon as we see Boyd's recurring hand tremors. We get some more backstory as well. Arriving into the town, it appears his wife Anna did not make it. The same that kept Boyd from pursuing his dream as an MLB baseball player. We also learn that Kenny wants to slide into Christie's DMs, but she is in a relationship at home. I'll get it out of the way now. Kenny gets curved. Rejected, as my generation would say. Julie also gets sidestepped by Fatima as she lightly explores the idea of kissing a girl. Julie is 17. Remember that. She is 17. Anyways, back to the vampire fuckers in the night. The Jim family writes a ton of interesting theories on their walls, clearly mirroring what fans may believe. Dimensional portals, government conspiracies, the possibility everyone is already dead. All of which serving for fun Pringle popping. Jade walks across the pond, pondering special relativity and other ideas to explain this place. You have mentions of Klein and Hardy's various experiments. Einstein, Podolsky, Rosen as well. These were classical 1920s unified field theories of gravitation and electromagnetism. It was built around the idea of a fifth dimension beyond the common 4D of space and time and considered an important precursor to string theory. Hardy's is a reference to Hardy's paradox. The latter refers to the 1935 Einstein-Rosen paradox paper titled "Can Quantum Mechanical Description of Physical Reality Be Considered Complete?" Einstein wasn't satisfied with the EPR paper and revealed most of it was written by Rosen, which, fun fact there, something mentioned in Einstein's argument against the EPR paper was the quantum non-locality outside reality. That is a whole lot of words. I'm going to sum it up for you real quick. Essentially, the idea is a fifth dimension that exists beyond space and time that creates imprints of our imagination, but doesn't fully exist as it's still expressed in a work of fiction. That's the easiest way I can describe it. Put that to the side. We'll dig into that a little bit later. Of course, with all this, Jade is driving himself batshit crazy and discovers the local bar. Thank God, I need a beer. With bartender Tom here to service all of his woes, both going over Schrodinger's cat, which is a thought experiment where matter can appear both alive and dead simultaneously when transferring from any stage of existence. So instead of it just being a clean transition, there's overlap, which is interesting when you think about it. In other news, kids from Colony House go for a swim in a local pond of sorts, and Sarah finally attempts to kill Ethan. Except in the struggle, she murders her brother Nathan instead by complete accident. It's crazy. With Father Khatri handling a sermon later on and essentially debunking the dead theory. Whether they are alive or dead does not matter to him. What does is that they exist in this current form and need to help one another. For what? They don't know. Which is sweet until you realize Khatri captured Sarah's ass after she made a run from killing her brother. Straight up don't want to go in the box. Boyd begins to pack on the side as he plans on making a break for the forest, seeing how everyone is collapsing, in search of answers, while Jim discovers some of his own. Looking at the wiring in his house, he notices the wire copper does not appear to function as normal. If this town is isolated, how would electricity still work after all this time? To be fair, if you look at the buildings, they appear to be more modern. But if the loop of this town has existed for even more than 50 years, none of this architecture would be here. It simply wouldn't make sense. Cars could come in with people, but these buildings couldn't. Which gives both Jim and Jade an idea as they scour the town for all electrical components to help boost a signal strong enough for the radio to contact anyone outside the town. Also coming to terms with the accident from early in the season. A rationale that actually kinda makes sense. The show has smart writing to back up the mystery. Jade himself was the CEO for a giant AI company he built from scratch, which everything goes even further south as Tabitha discovers a bracelet of hers in the town. one she had lost years ago. Kenny clearly sees Boyd as a father figure since his dad died, and is struggling to accept Boyd's limited time given his condition. Oh, and Father Khatri is actually sort of good now, as he's protecting Sarah from the town in hopes of learning what the voices have been telling her, and if this is of a religious nature. He makes a fun gesture as well, alluding to his sermons he holds. Yes, his speaking is incredible. But, fun fact, a lot of the passages he is preaching, he had to recite from memory, meaning the original version is not exactly as it was, but he is able to gaslight the town. Fake it till you make it, I guess. Jade and Jim hit an issue as their radio needs a higher frequency, and of course, Jade continues to see those Civil War visions chasing him down. He also fights with Kenny's mom as he cannot understand her, all because of the language, until they both see the same symbol on books hidden in storage. The same storage Tabitha found her bracelet in. In terms of the electricity, Jim family has two plans. Jim family is collecting all components, while Tabitha herself is digging in the basement, looking for where the cords go. In a massive bombshell, the voices in Sarah's head are now telling her to draw a picture to prove to Khatri she is not crazy, as the voices watched over Khatri too, and they know his story. In fear, he leaves to go to the field where he buried these items, a bag and a Cosmos candy bar. The voices in Sarah's head knows more than just her. He does open up to Boyd later on, in which one of the boys who attended his church in the from town was beaten to death by his dad. In a blind rage, Khatri murders the dad and runs from the police. In an attempt to commit suicide the same night for failing the boy, he hears a voice similar to what Sarah hears, who tells him to just drive. Of course, ending up at the tree and where we see him now. This forces Khatri to believe Sarah's connection to the town is the way to make it home. Until we cut immediately to Colony House invasion. Corey and Fatima nearly die after this Napoleon Dynamite looking motherfucker is caught lusting for one of the creatures outside. This show is brilliant, as you can see him all throughout the show leaving gifts out before nightfall for this being. He's always in plain sight and never the focus of the shot. You can even catch this twist literally 2 to 3 episodes before it happens. Unfortunately, our horn dog Trudy gets cornered by 3 of them, and in such an eerie scene, is so scared she can't even scream, leading to her demise as well. The creatures begin taking everyone they can down, leading to an injured Ellis and weakened Fatima. In a last-ditch effort, they are able to barricade a small corner of the house with the talisman. Unfortunately, Victor and Julie had to escape from the roof, where Victor pushes Julie through a faraway tree, with his whereabouts unknown. The idea comes from Victor's vision of the boy in white who guides him there. So now we got a conundrum. With Colony House all coming to town for safety, Khatri unfortunately catches a neck slash and perishes in Boyd's arms, marking the first of many major deaths for the series. His final words, "It can't end like this." He succumbs during prayer. This death was a fascinating one for me. I thoroughly loved Khatri's character. As you will soon see, this isn't the last time we'll see him, but he brought a lot to the show, and it does exactly what Lost did as well, where the showrunners are willing to share that not many characters in the story will have plot armor. Speaking of plot armor, Julie jumps in that random faraway tree and reappears in the abandoned cellar. Yeah, that cellar, it's gonna be important. The fall of Colony House turns the show into a team building exercise as they work to build a tower on top of Colony House in hopes of casting a signal to the real world, using all electrical wiring from each house, symbolizing the unity of the town. In the meantime, I want to take a quick detour as we learn about Boyd and Ellis's origin. Boyd was set to retire and take his new boat his family got him for a spin, unless they got to town. During this flashback, we see that they didn't always have talismans. The old school method was to hide and hope you weren't caught in the web. Boyd and his wife met in the army, and when they came to Fromville, began training everyone with strict parameters for survival. One night gone wrong leads to Boyd's discovery that the talismans were in a faraway tree that does not teleport, by finding this near some abandoned ruins. Ultimately, the town itself eventually breaks Anne, who begins murdering everyone around her due to PTSD, muttering how death is the only escape. She sees Ellis come towards her, which causes Boyd to pull the trigger on his gun in defense of his son, which now explains the separation of the two at the start of the season. I want to preface before Anne's psychotic breakdown, she refers to a dream she had when she was younger to Ellis, but she immediately changes subject. This will come back later in Season 3. Once the flashback ends, the stage is set. The town, once in mutiny and disarray, rally behind Jim and Jade's plan to build the tower. Boyd sets off into the forest with Sarah in search for answers, but not before his son forgives and embraces him for the sacrifices he has made to keep them all alive. Kenny steps up for Boyd, whose mom is forever proud of him. Victor is still missing, and Tabitha takes a break from digging the hole, only to teleport to a random spiral staircase. Babies crying in the distance, and the year numbers etched into the wall being 1506, 1609, 1672, 1752, 1793, 1864, 1883, 1931, and 1978. What's interesting is at the end of her nightmare, she sees Jim hanging, only to contrast the next scene where one of the survivors from Colony House also hangs themselves. Further along, Boyd and Sarah see bottles hung in the trees, implying someone put those there. They do camp out with talismans at night, only for the voices to stir up an interesting quote from Sarah. "Tell Mr. Fish and Loaves that I was wrong." An exact quote that Boyd mentioned to his family before making it to the town months ago, only to then be disturbed by a loud horn and some giant creature pulling their tent from the outside. Bright lights galore. Jade finally solves the power issue and notices no wires are in the cords, almost as if the town is trying to mimic real life without understanding how it works. I love that. You know what I don't love? Giant fucking spiders. Yeah, these giant fucking spiders. So Boyd and Sarah are taken to a nest of webs, with visions of Anne appearing to Boyd. Boyd now debating whether his dead wife gave Sarah the knowledge of his nickname. This riddle quickly evaporates as Boyd is bitten by some smaller spiders and begins to succumb to his illness. In order to avoid nightfall, Sarah pushes Boyd into a faraway tree as a last-ditch effort of survival, with guidance from the boy in white yet again, only to awaken in a dark hole with no way out. In the meantime, Jade and Kenny's mom have built a great friendship, openly praying with one another. The town itself all coming together for the greater good. The signal works. Jim finally gets someone on the line, someone who knows his full name, before the massive storm hits, destroying everything. Jim is warned by this man that his wife shouldn't have dug that hole. Before Jim can make it back to her in time, the hole collapses and Tabitha reunites with Victor in the pits, where the creature lives. Ending on the pivotal note of multiple characters being in danger, and as a storm and nightfall come into play, a traveling bus filled with people has now arrived. The first season sets up a ton of incredible storylines, alongside some clear tricks into what the future of the town will bring. On top of this, there are a ton of hidden secrets in plain sight, alluding to the answers and arguably where the show is gonna end. Much can be seen in the homages to grander works akin to Stephen King, Mary Shelley, H.P. Lovecraft, Shirley Jackson, and especially Edgar Allan Poe. I mean, the tree scene always includes the raven. Speaking of, some of his poems really do echo the future of where this show goes. Stories within stories, like the raven. It loops quite heavily into my upcoming theory, so who better yet to recite the poem for you all other than Seth Abstract himself.
my boy Edgar Allan Poe going to lay down the flow. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore. While I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping as of someone gently rapping at my chamber door. 'Tis some visitor, I muttered, tapping at my chamber door. Only this and nothing more. And the raven never flitting, still is sitting on the pallet buster palace just above my chamber door. And his eyes have all the seeming of a demon's that is dreaming, and the lamplight over him streaming throws a shadow on the floor. And my soul from out that shadow that lies floating on the floor. Lenore, is there, Lenore, nevermore, nevermore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Back into the chamber turning, all my soul within me burning. Soon again I heard a tapping somewhat louder than before. Surely said I, surely that is something at my window lattice. Let me see then what the rat is, and this mystery explore. 'Tis the wind and nothing more. And the raven never flitting, still is sitting on the pallet buster palace just above my chamber door. And his eyes have all the seeming of a demon's that is dreaming, and the lamplight over him streaming throws a shadow on the floor. And my soul from out that shadow that lies floating on the floor. Lenore, is there, Lenore, nevermore, nevermore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil. Tell this soul with sorrow laden, if within the distant Aiden, it shall clasp a sainted maiden whom the angels name Lenore. My soul from out that shadow that lies floating on the floor shall be lifted nevermore. Lenore, is there, Lenore, nevermore, nevermore. Quoth the raven, nevermore.
You can't save them all.
Kickstarting Season 2, we have two immediate storylines: the town fiasco with all hell breaking loose, and Boyd's attempt at survival. Let's chat Boyd first. He is tossed a rope from above that he uses to climb out. But wait, in his nightmare the tremor is in the opposite hand. It was the left, but now it has transitioned to the right. He meets an old man chained in what appears to be a dungeon of sorts. A lot of this conversation is cryptic, but ultimately three main pieces occur. The old man warns Boyd of creatures that are set to come that he is not ready for. Boyd witnesses two other skeletons in the room next to the old man, who also gives us his name, Martin. And that if you look at his tattoo, he was a general in the US Marines, and thus bonds with Boyd over this. Martin also warns Boyd of a music box that he has to escape from, as the song itself carries a horrifying weight. While also asking Boyd a clear question about his wife Abby, even though Boyd never notified him of her. In the split instance, Martin takes Boyd's arm, hits him with the "my blood is your blood now," and transports larva-like things underneath Boyd's skin. As Martin passes, Boyd moves on by taking a torch and is suddenly transported in the old familiar ruins. He sees that cute old dog again and decides to follow it, which leads him to Victor, Tabitha, and eventually newbie Elgin, who is the goat for surviving on his own in the night. Of course, this Martin scene may be the strongest theory of mine yet, and how all minds become interconnected on some subconscious level here within the town. Now let's take a pit stop over with Tabitha. Her and Victor work their way through the underground cave, which confirms this is where the creatures sleep at night. It's also vital to know Victor appears here by the faraway tree as a way to guide Tabitha out to safety. The two are eventually able to escape into the daytime, but not until Tabitha witnesses a child down below and some abandoned luggage showing dates all the way back to the 1900s. These two eventually make it outside, and we make it to a truck Victor uses when he explores beyond the town. Keeps them both safe in the night. Back in town, we have the newly formed RV crew. Of course, people are not so gung-ho about stopping in this town, but Donna is gung-ho and breaks out the choppa, stranding everyone there, giving the people on the bus the opportunity to seek shelter and listen if they would like. Let's meet our new bus homies. First is Elgin. He puked on Randall. He's the nerdy kid of the bunch who appears to have incidents of seizures, also emphasizing his ability to see vaguely into the future, as he was like, oh hell no, turn this bus around. Next up, we have the lead driver Bacta, who is hell-bent on keeping her people safe. Brian and Kelly, who are a couple. They do stuff. Brick, who should not have traveled solo. Tilly, who is a sweet old grandmother and cancer survivor who is focused on keeping the vibes alive. We also have Marielle, who is a recovering drug addict with connections to someone in the town. And finally, it's Randall. Randall is the firecracker of the show. If you expect the plan to go one way, his way of thinking is going to shift the playing field. There's a widespread fear which sends everyone into a frenzy. Some make it to the diner, while others stay outside and choose to fend for themselves. On the flip side of this, we now have Jim and a few guys who are working to dig up the hole Tabitha fell in. Bartender Tom, Brick, Jim, and Randall. Unfortunately, the entire house collapses, trapping everyone but Randall, who makes it out okay. Shit gets real as Tom, Brick, and Jim now have to survive under rubble until morning. Some people make it safely to the diner, while others remain outside. Like this cute old couple. Unfortunately, they get snacked on like a Doritos Locos Tacos, but our guy who is nicknamed Mr. Smiley by the family.
Oh, thank God we heard the screaming.
You picked a bad spot.
He has also appeared briefly in the series, but starts becoming a more prominent character now, so he makes his stake here. Fun fact. Did you know that From was never going to have the Creatures of the Night smile? When auditioning, Jamie Maguire was asked to do something terrifying. In his retrospect, the only thing he could come up with was to stay silent and smile while staring at the casting director. Not only did this work, but it created this eerie style for the creatures that is arguably the most iconic part of the show. We see the monsters claim a few souls. Unfortunately, both Brian and Kelly are snacked on as they fall for the classic, oh help, I've fallen and I can't get up, mimic trick. We move back to the diner, and Randall is beginning to challenge authority. What a shock. While as fans we know that if they stay until dawn they will be safe, Randall doesn't really feel like bending the knees. He takes Kenny as a hostage and threatens to walk outside. This falls flat as his booty is beaten and he is kept inside with Kenny, Donna, and the rest. Surprise, they all make it to morning. We then open up back to the house. This is one of the best scenes in the show to me. All three guys are pinned under debris. As one breathes, it injures the other two, meaning they all have to sacrifice comfort for each other. Tom and Jim do their best to keep Rick sane as he is in the worst spot, talking about flapjacks and all the nice surprises that sunrise will bring. It's such a human scene, as this scenario is foobar, but they truly band together. Unfortunately, it's not enough as Brick's chest caves in. From is a brutal town. Oh yeah, they also claim Bartender Tom too. He gets snacked on from a creature that, if you look in the background, has been stalking him the whole night, playing with him, leaving Jim alone to survive the remainder of the evening. Which he does, and eventually reunites with his kids above, and wife. In this part of the show, a lot of character arcs come to the forefront. Ellis has proposed to Fatima, and he's worried for her sanity, akin to what happened to his mom. Christy reunites with her girlfriend, who was conveniently on the bus. Heck, Randall even stirs up shit and gets kicked out of Colony House, being forced to live on his own on said bus. It is also confirmed the electricity comes from nothing. All of the wires from the town are simply dangling down below. While the additional search for supplies, we have Kenny and Christy, who discover Kelly alive, but blind as her brain was impaled. I'm gonna stop everyone here. There are a ton of theories online about the monsters trying to commit a ritual here of sorts. Sometimes a spade is a spade. This was merely a torture tactic. Kelly does officially die here as Boyd comes down to put her out of her misery. Jade also goes down a rabbit hole with Kenny's mom regarding the faint symbol he had seen in Season 1. To the point, he even discovers a violin and starts bringing Victor along on his search for answers. He knows there's parts to this town that only Victor understands. Helps that Jade discovered a photo of a man with Victor in the background here at the town. Once the dust settles, Boyd and Kenny do reconnect with Sarah. After she jumped in the faraway tree from Season 1, she ended up in the church basement, which beckons the question if the faraway tree is truly random, or if there is some significance to where you end up. Posing the existentialist question, this show does such a great job of portraying. What's vital here is Sarah confirms that the boy in white is not the same as the voices in her head. This also brings up the dilemma where Boyd has never told Kenny about the acts Sarah made in Season 1, the same ones that killed his dad. The fight between Kenny and Boyd is quite strong. Yes, Sarah has almost killed Ethan, Kenny's dad, Toby, her own brother, but she has a connection to this place that got them answers and kept Boyd alive when he was too far gone. Answers that led Father Khatri to seek forgiveness in the name of escaping Fromville. We see Jim and Tabitha dissolve into existentialism and what the point of everything is. Why is this happening? Why did Jim survive when Tom and Brick weren't so lucky? This part of the show also opens the floodgates for characters seeking visions of those who passed. Jade begins obsessing over the symbol he found, with Tom echoing in his voice at the bar. Khatri ends up visiting Boyd, mocking the moves Boyd has left to make on this chessboard of sorts. Kenny, having learned the truth about Sarah, refutes his deputy status and leaves Boyd high and dry. We even get some fun scenes I like. For example, Randall starts screaming at the monsters from the bus at night. And of course, they give no fucks. The town, of course, begins to question Boyd's leadership, and Victor convinces Jade that the answers they seek come from playing the violin at the specific location with a bunch of damaged cars. Cars Victor drove as he didn't want to see them. Of course, one of the cars belonged to Victor's mom. The town continues to rebel against Sarah, knowing she's alive, mistreating her as if this is the Scarlet Letter, even when she is merely collecting items to remind her of her brother. Of course, Kenny gets gung-ho and threatens to murder Sarah as well, but well, let's move on. We'll touch that a little later. There's Tilly. She is everywhere, anywhere, all at once. Whenever a character pops into the scene, she so happens to have knowledge and gossip. Having cancer and realized her days are numbered, I appreciate her arc, mainly being there to help whenever she can. Tabitha gets a nice old jump scare, continuing with a group of ghost children. Randall also takes some bus seats to the top of the bus and begins studying everyone in town on top of the creatures at night, hoping to get some semblance of coherency over the where and why for the structure of this town. I want to take a beat right now and add a special note to the season. Season 1 did this trick, but it's more prevalent now. The jukebox at the town plays music geared to the scene at hand, but more so in later scenes, you can tell it's the town itself speaking to the characters. Boyd confesses everything to Kenny's mom, carrying on Khatri's wishes, as Sarah has a special connection here. Boyd does spend a bit more time in the church this season as well, beginning to see this ballerina from the ballerina box early on. On the flip side, Ellis begins taking food counts with good old Dave. Fun fact. Dave's actor in real life is married to Donna's actress. When they bicker in scenes, it feels quite authentic because they deal with each other 24/7. They've been happily married for quite a long time. You gotta love the Fromley. On the side, the section of the story focuses a lot on stealing. Marielle is caught stealing drugs from the clinic and Christy to fuel her habit, while Elgin is accused of stealing food from Colony House.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
Nothing. Me? Just hanging around.
This division is not good for anyone, and unfortunately in the heat of the moment, Dale accidentally stabs Ellis right in the chest.
At night.
It's a bad sign. Now, before we hit what is arguably one of the best moments of the show, I want to throw another. Now, From loves hiding smaller details in plain sight without outright saying anything. Season 1 with the hidden love story between Napoleon Fuckface and the creature. In Season 2, you could tell from various actions taken by Elgin that he was beginning to hoard and steal food. His immediate reaction to jump into hero mode by going outside to the nearby van in clear danger also alludes to this. This guy has been such a wuss the entire season, now all of a sudden he's the only hero there. Yeah, you can miss me with that. It's not a red badge of courage situation here. There is some underlying details that the showrunners leave for us to kind of piece together. His facial reactions say it all. What comes next is such a tense and unnerving sight, as Elgin abandons the house and hops in a vehicle as the creatures begin walking towards him. He finds the key and is able to get both Ellis and Fatima in as they book it to the clinic. This panning one shot is powerful as you can never tell what's outside in view of Elgin, but only can see the pain Ellis is in as he's starting to get pretty close to death. Like, he's down, my man is down like it's Warzone and he's on his final seconds. While all this is happening, Boyd is losing his grip on reality in the clinic, having told Kenny about the worms in his body and now his hallucinations of the ballerina and conversations with Katri. Kenny sees Boyd talking to no one, and finally goes in with the gat as if he's going to kill Boyd for continuing to lose his grip on reality. I mean, it's insane. All of this gets pushed to the side as Ellis makes it to the clinic thanks to Elgin. When brought in, they have to focus on an immediate blood transfer. Here's the issue. Only Boyd's blood will match, but he has the worms. Christy has done medical checks and claimed there are none, but even though Boyd can't explain it, he knows they are real. Big Dick Kenny lets Boyd know that he is willing to cut his own hand and take on the worms from Boyd so he doesn't infect Ellis. But Boyd has another plan. The moment that solidifies his character as someone on the Mount Rushmore of horror heroes. Homie goes out into the night to talk all the shit towards the creatures and is surrounded by Smiley and his goons, only to slice Smiley's throat and put his wound on it, uttering, "My blood is your blood now." This ultimately kills Smiley as he dissolves and the other creatures don't even flinch. They sit, they walk around him, and then they just peace out. Simply walking away. I love this, especially as Boyd had no plan beyond this. He just knew with his son on the line, he was going to kill them no matter what. Thankfully, with Christy and her girlfriend, they are able to complete the blood transfusion, and Ellis survives. Hell yeah. Now they have an idea. Those worms, maybe they can kill more than just Mr. Smiley. Wild news, Fatima is now also confirmed to be pregnant. Dale is in timeout for trying to kill someone even by accident, and Boyd, alongside Kenny, Christy, and Melanie, decide to crack open the dead Smiley to see what's inside. On the flip side, we have Jim, who sees Randall flying a drone. Randall has been studying the town for some time and begins pointing out some strange occurrences beyond the whole town loop thing. The creatures are habitual, performing the same exact routes each night. He begins questioning people in the town and also offers Jim the chance to hook up what radio equipment he has to this drone to potentially get a larger lay of the land and another signal outside the boundaries of Fromville. The drone itself was a gift for Randall's nephew, who he was on the way to see, I'm gonna pit stop here and say Randall, for all of his faults, is one of the few From characters who isn't afraid to risk his own life for others, on more than one occasion. Anyway, Randall and Jim start emphasizing the idea of a plant, possibly someone on the inside who is ensuring that everything goes the way it should. Is the government involved? Fun fact. History galore is filled with government experiments quite similar to that in From, where people in many cases are unaware of the implications or rules. Here are a few below that are linked to comments made by characters in the show, especially in Season 2. You have Project MKUltra, which happened between 53 and 73. It was a CIA-run secret program involving unwitting subjects and prisoners to study mind control, often using hallucinogenic drugs like LSD, alongside other methods. As a sidebar, if you haven't seen The Men Who Stare at Goats, that movie, go watch it. It's quite good. It leans a lot into this, and it's one of my favorites. We have the Tuskegee syphilis study, which happened in 32 to 72. It was a U.S. public health service that tracked untreated syphilis in African American men, denying them treatment to see the implications. There's also the plutonium experiments in the 40s, which was government-sponsored studies on the effects of plutonium and uranium on unwitting patients. This isn't fake. This shit happened. Randall does make a great point here for viewers. How can this town or whatever is occurring ensure things happen as they should if there's a plan to it? As if the story follows the path it needs to. Would this explain the moments where the town brought the storm in to hinder the radio signal, or was that too mere coincidence? Tabitha and Jade also begin bonding over their shared visions, both of the children and the symbol we have seen time and time again. Both Jade and Tabitha, alongside Victor, have seen and taken a focus on the symbol. Kenny also straight up confesses his love to Christy during their fear of opening up Smiley. He gets curbed again, and does the nice thing of standing back. A+ for being a gentleman. Sorry about your dad, bro. During this convo, Marielle, in her drug-induced recovery, has a nightmare where she too sees the music box, the same as Boyd had. At this point, plants are continuing to die and food sources diminish. Fatima and Donna have a special conversation regarding her pregnancy, where Donna brings up a shocking point. For all the powers this town has, can it at some point be used for good instead of evil? The town does have clear otherworldly implications, so why is it always leading to suffering? Who's at the center of control? Something special is going on because yes, Fatima is pregnant, but she reveals that before making her way into the town, she was notified she could never bear children. Speaking of unnatural shit, Boyd and crew do open up Smiley and determine he was once human, sharing similar layout akin to how a human body is designed with its organs. Kind of an interesting comparison since the town has been shown to mimic electricity without knowing how it actually works. Like it mimics these humans without knowing how blood fuels the body. The most important part here is the realization that there are no worms in the body, but there is leftover bile, which they all figure can be used to coat special From vampire killing bullets, cause fuck it, I don't know. I watched From Dusk Till Dawn, maybe it works. Elgin and Julie begin their bond over areas in the town that seem familiar to him. The lake, the town, and eventually our next stage of this nightmare. Elgin decides to take a bath, and of course, he also now sees the music box. Plus this kimono lady starts to drown Elgin. But wait, he lives. Kenny and his mom are in their house's kitchen when the phone begins to ring. A man on it whispers, "They touch, they break, they steal. No one is free. Here they come for three, unless you stop the melody." Now, fun fact here. Let's break down the... Oh, there's Mr. Peanut. Hold on. Oh, guys, we're going to have to take a quick pause here. Nope.
Like and subscribe, follow me here, follow me there, follow me everywhere. Let's go game with a purpose. Like and subscribe, follow me here, follow me there, follow me everywhere. Let's go game with a purpose.
Let's break down the three verses. They touch, they break, they steal. This quote has yet to be resolved outside its endgame implications in Season 2, but there are some dots we can connect, and it works better if we look at the quote backwards. Unless You Stop the Melody clearly refers to the musical notes from the ballerina box and some late-stage moments in Season 3. Here They Come for 3, refers to the shackles at the beginning of the season and our soon-to-be 3 prisoners. They Touch, They Break, They Steal clearly refers to the 3 people that will be captured. They Steal fits Marielle. She stole the liquid morphine early on. They Break fits Randall. He broke a physical object when he pushed a guy at the colony house and has been quite destructive. They Touch would fit no one else but Julie, who clearly has a deep connection to Ethan and all sorts of people in the town. At this point, back in the story, it looks like those worms have now hatched into cicadas that are roaming outside. At first in Kenny's dream. When he awakens, he has a burn mark, same place the cicadas touched. We also see Randall start questioning deaths with the classic, "If I didn't see it, it didn't happen, it doesn't exist," which arguably is his fatal flaw in Season 2. We haven't spent much time with Sarah in a bit, but all you missed is a part of her wants to leave town with the talisman and not return. We also have the tag team duo of Jade and Tabitha exploring the tunnels where they discuss the idea of chaos theory. Fun fact: chaos theory goes like this. A butterfly flaps its wings in Wyoming. A month later, there is a tsunami in Japan. And on the surface, the events don't appear related in any sense. But in reality, there is an intricate set of connections. Victor begins noting changes in the town that are only just now happening and are new to him, meaning the town hasn't reacted to them like this before. I'm going to squash this now. In theory of the story, this could mean the actions the townsfolk are taking are shifting the world as we know it. But don't look too deep here. It's a simple writing trick the team is using to explain the change in seasons, given the filming schedule and change in location. Originally, the series was filmed in Canada, but now it occurs in Nova Scotia. For budgeting reasons, and the fact fans are so obsessive, they found exactly where the show was filmed via Google Maps. Victor and Ethan's friendship evolves quite a bit in this season. Against his parents' wishes, Victor and Ethan help each other map out parts of the town and create a form of quest. Vic even gives Ethan his old jacket from when he was younger. We also get clear allusions to the pictures being memories of Victor, so he doesn't forget as he struggles to remember so much. Which is interesting, as early on in the show you may allude to some similar pieces of art that was made by Ellis. Which goes to trigger a flashback with Victor. We finally see his mom during the night of the OG Town Massacre, where only Victor survived. She hands him some toy crayons and tells him to be brave. That is all for now. This is part of the beauty in Victor's character. He takes a lot after the westernization of Frankenstein, and no, not the Doctor. Clearly misunderstood with a different form of communication that doesn't fit the status quo. His main focus is always keeping others safe, with the realization that this town is all Victor knows. Others may go home, but to him, this is his home. Where would he go when everyone left? While Jade is a bit tougher, given his desire to leave, we see Tabitha bond with Vic and serves as a mother figure for him. Further along, Randall begins questioning others in the town, like Sarah in the church, on if she knows her brother is really dead. I'm not kidding, he is straight up asking the person that killed Nathan if Nathan is really dead. Donna randomly appears, and of course Randall does not take too kindly to this, as it's such a massive coincidence. This all triggers actually a pretty solid game plan between Jim and Randall down the road. They're going to sneak out at night to the RV with the talisman and spy on the creatures. See what they do when no one is looking. Both agree to this plan, and Randall even takes the bigger route as he tracks Donna down to apologize to her for how he's acted. In town, shit gets crazy as those cicadas escape from the smiley creature's body, and now Donna giving Boyd that OG shit like, bro, why ain't you tell me this? Victor goes back to the car lot with Tabitha, and it is revealed that only half of what Victor remembers was said to him. The other was to his sister, Eloise.
You don't get to pick and choose what you tell us. Everything you know, everything you've seen, it all matters.
Wouldn't you like to go home? This is my home.
Victor has so much history of this place, and I don't think Boyd knows anything about what Victor knows.
Victor came to this town as like an 8 or 10-year-old.
Victor is the one resident of the town that has been there the longest.
How did you get here?
I don't like to talk about that. His mother and sister left,
I need you to be brave. Mommy, wait, I want to come with you.
and they never came back.
And so in locking away the emotional agony of that loss, he also locked away some hidden truths about this place.
He was left alone for a long time and has survived because the boy in white appeared and became his friend and guided him.
And Victor, this season, has become a focal point for Tabitha.
People shouldn't go looking for answers,
Why not?
because they don't come back.
Maybe he feels really comfortable with me because I remind him of his mother. But I need you to be brave, Victor.
That's what my mother said to me that night.
And Jade comes to believe that Victor holds the secrets to getting out of here.
There's got to be a reason I'm seeing this everywhere.
Victor sees the world differently. They have a very interesting relationship.
That's mine. Give it back to me.
Yeah.
Give it back to me!
Hey, all right. Calm down, man.
I always have loved the honesty of Victor, like a child.
You shouldn't have touched this. It's not yours. Stay away from me!
Everyone saw him as like a creepy person, but actually he's really nice.
He's just a child in need of love.
He's a guy who's there and he wants his peaches, and he knows if they go looking for answers that bad things are gonna happen. I don't give him a label, I guess. He's just Victor. And to Victor belong the spoils.
Victor's mom was leaving the cellar for an unknown reason in which his baby sister chased after her. Victor never left, and he blamed himself for their deaths, although he's never actually seen them die. You know what that means? He's been drawing to remember them, although a lot of the drawings made weren't by Victor, but Eloise. Talk about a gut punch. In reviewing all the drawings from both kids, there are references to a lighthouse, the same one Boyd and Sarah saw in Season 1. We got a landmark. As Jade says, all it takes is 2 pieces of the puzzle to connect before everything can fall into place. In preparation of burning Smiley's body and returning to town, right before sundown, unfortunately an unnamed man, who we soon learned is named Reggie, screams for help as he leaves his house. It appears his wife was mutilated by these cicadas that burst out from her chest. Finishing up this bow of a holy cow moment, Jim meets Randall at the RV, except Randall has now tied Donna to a tree and proclaims his new plan. Let's see how the creatures do with her out here. Back in town, Reggie's wife is reconfirmed dead. Her name is Paula and she is no more. You are the weakest link. Goodbye. It's interesting to note here, I won't call it a fun fact, but it is interesting. These two have been seen before. They were a couple that were mean AF to Sarah back in Season 2, Episode 5. Not sure if there's a link here, but the town has been shown to be heavily reactionary to the actions made within it. The scary part about this new attack is that it happened in broad daylight. Paula was simply napping. The problem with this new type of attack is that it was triggered by Boyd. In the expedition into the forest boundaries, Boyd ended up shoved into the faraway tree by Sarah after the boy in white told Sarah to enter the tree for safety. Now Boyd, Marielle, Elgin, and now Kenny can hear the music box. Boyd has transmitted the signal to town. The new plan seems to be that no one in the town can sleep. Those who sleep are dying by cicadas, although I believe Elgin earlier was saved by the kimono lady. She ensured he didn't hear the entire melody, as she easily could have killed him. That does complicate, well, what's the point of the 3 that were chosen, but we'll get to that later. We get more wackadoodle Randall, who begs the question if animatronics are involved. He's about to murder both Jim and Donna until thankfully Boyd arrives. He got word about Jim heading to the RV and comes in the nick of time. Boyd shoots in the air, and Randall's half-arsed plan is foiled. Except there's maybe 15 minutes of daylight left. Where are the van keys? Oh hey look, Randall chucks them deep into the forest like an asshole.
Why? 'Cause fuck 'em, that's why.
Let me know if you've heard this joke before. A sheriff with Parkinson's, a roller coaster architect, a hunter, and an unhinged bald fuck now need to stay in the RV at night for protection. And yes, the bald fucked Randall is now handcuffed. There's not really a joke there, the situation just straight up sucks. Sarah also opens up to Kenny more in the sheriff's station, theorizing something quite interesting. What if those who die become part of the forest, if their fears come alive? Nathan did have a huge fear of bugs after all. Could there be a possibility that maybe the cicadas are somehow influenced by Sarah? I don't think so, but that idea of people in the town having influence, we're going to see more of that in the coming season. More time is spent on the drawings left, especially by Eloise. One of them has 10 children all showing sad faces, except one that has a smile. Those are Eloise's drawings, not Victor's. So how does Eloise know about the faraway trees? The drawing in the bottom right, did Victor and Eloise have a scare? That looks like one of the monsters entered their house or someone else's house. The drawing in the center left is intriguing in the scenes shown. That thing next to the large person looks eerily close to the staff or crutch Victor gave Ethan shortly after his family arrived to this place. Victor told him before taking him to the woods that the crutch Ellis made for him wasn't good. Ethan needed a staff worthy of a quest. So the questions to ponder are, is that a quest staff in the drawings? Is that meant to be Ethan? Is that meant to be someone else who happens to have a different quest staff or young Victor? If the answer was, that's Ethan, how did Eloise draw this nearly 30, 40 years ago? And why did it come true? You could honestly do a 10-hour discussion on the drawings, but these ones seem quite major. We already got 20-something pages in the script here, so let's move on. So all that comes from Jade and Tabitha's journey is this. Jade is going to head back to the tunnels to look for the symbol, and Tabitha wants to go looking for the lighthouse, which Victor ultimately helps her look for, going against his fears of getting anyone else killed. Back in the RV, it's go time, baby. As the creatures begin walking towards the RV, they craft a plan to make it back and test the bile zombie vampire bullet things. The creatures eventually stop walking in sync and stand still, all while a massive noise is heard under the RV. Soon the RV radio begins to play channel 47, alluding to the same exact frequency used in season 1, and the ballerina music box tune plays through it. Now it's clear, everyone can hear it. Fun fact! This show likes to take concepts and reverse them, and I don't think the music box being played for everyone is for simple eerie tension vibes. Think about the radio in season 1. How does a radio work? A radio works by converting sound into an electromagnetic radio wave at a transmitter, which is then captured by an antenna and decoded back into sound by a receiver. In this metaphor, Boyd is the transmitter who has captured the signal from the town and is now bringing it to everyone who can now decode it for themselves. A Trojan horse, if you will. Perhaps a pack of Trojan condoms as well, as the Frumley is getting railed quite hard this season. It does beg the question though, if you can serve as a transmitter for this town, can you possibly bring the horrors and fears outside its boundaries? See, I'm putting breadcrumbs for my theory here. I'm getting there. Hope you're liking the video. Like and subscribe. So Randall freaks the fuck out and bails. Boyd ends up seeing the image of his deceased wife, but he is brought back to reality before he is lost to whatever is underneath the RV. Everyone else makes a break for it, in which Boyd uses the bile bullets, and guess what? It does not work because that was a stupid fucking idea. All while this is going on, we have people in the town being consumed by cicadas. We got Marielle that got taken next. They steal, if you will. Out in the forest, Randall ends up tripping over his own attitude, and the cicadas claim him as well. They broke, if you will. Luckily, Boyd, Jim, and Donna make it back to Colony House, and Elgin remembers his dream. He's been slacking on the entire season, cause fuck you, bro. You're lucky you saved Ellis, cause I was about done with you. All brought during a convo where Tilly is able to tell them Fatima got that baby growing in her. There was this boy, all dressed in white, and he kept repeating the same phrase over and over. Here they come for 3 unless you stop the melody. Bacta in the scene has a pretty cool line, actually, out of nowhere. Wait, I know that one. It's an old nursery rhyme. My grandmother used to sing it to me. They touch, they break, they steal. No one here is free. Here they come for 3, unless you stop the melody. I realize something now. In Tabitha's dream in the tower, she saw all those dates dating back to the 1500s. Now Bhakta says that her grandmother used to sing this song to her. Bhakta's grandmother was possibly born in the early 10s or 20s. The way these lyrics sound, the nursery rhyme may have originated during the 1800s, during slavery, and passed down to the next couple of generations for Bhakta's grandma to pass it down to her. The Civil War happened between 1861 and 1865. Look at the number in Tabitha's dreams. Eloise also drew the Civil War soldiers, the same Jade saw in his lucid waking dreams in the forest. This means this place has been around a long time, influencing the dreams of people for centuries, choosing which person to lead to the fallen tree in the road. The dreams about the music box monsters become folklore and edged into this nursery rhyme that predates the Civil War. Another explanation would be the other way around. That monster who killed people in this place, who knew the nursery rhyme in the 1800s, absorbed their fears into the forest. Keeping in mind what Sarah said recently about Nathan's theory, I like this lens a bit better from this perspective. Fromville, let alone stories in general, are sponges that soak up different actions and people over time. Like a blank canvas, each soul present adds a different shade of color to it. Artwork is quite prevalent in multiple portions of the show after all. And speaking of artwork, if the idea of stories being manipulated and intertwined with one another through the powers of a protagonist sounds interesting, well, we've seen it before in media, most notably in one game I absolutely love on the channel is Alan Wake 2, playing as a writer who forgets a manuscript he has written, but all the pages he finds in the manuscript eventually comes true, until he soon realizes that he has the power to manipulate space and time as he knows it, creating different environments within the blink of an eye. If you are even remotely interested in the story of From here, Alan Wake 2 is an absolute slam dunk and fits the horror theme quite well, but I digress. On the side of different perspectives, Kenny and Sarah in the sheriff's station, it's intense. She gets a hold of a revolver and essentially plays Russian roulette, that she should get to write her own ending for what she's done. It's a powerful scene where Kenny sees the damage his hatred is bringing someone who is also dealing with the town. Perhaps the inflicted pain isn't really getting anyone anywhere. Thankfully, Sarah does not kill herself, and Kenny comes to an understanding that she shouldn't go in the box. Now, it is entirely possible that Sarah has a mental illness, but I'm going to go a step further here. To top off this episode, Julie is our third and final victim of the cicadas who claim her now as well, as she has touched, but the phrase has some alternate meanings we will not be able to address until we get to the end of Season 3 for Julie. Season 2 finale is absolutely crazy. The town has some more meetings regarding Boyd's handling of events, as he now goes off to search for the ruins where he had discovered the music box to begin with. Of course he wants to be there for his son's wedding, and thankfully he makes the choice, with some push from Donna, to be there for Ellis. Even as the world they know falls apart, don't forget to take those rare moments with the people you love. I love this personally, as it is a full circle moment with Boyd and Ellis. Yes, what happened with Abby was tragic, but they still live on in her memory and for each other. Boyd has proven he will do anything for Ellis, and his son sees that. In other news, all three of our cicada victims have no movement and are convulsively screaming. Randall was found and brought back to Colony House where Julie resides. As Melanie is still in the clinic, Jade heads down to the tunnels in the daytime and does discover the symbol, but not as in marking. In a room filled with stone beds, he becomes surrounded by children ghosts, and as he looks up, the roots of the tree form this symbol. It is clear now that we can assume that these root formations are not natural, but more on that later. The second part of the finale lies with Boyd's journey. Prior to making it to the ruins, he is confronted by Randy, who murdered a random Colony House member earlier with a shotgun. Boyd, the OG, takes a shell to the shoulder and puts Reggie down. Yeah, I'd be pissed too. Thankfully, Boyd remembers the trick with the flame, and with a discarded torch, he is able to transport himself back into the prison with the music box, right before he smashes it. the image of his wife appears and warns him not to do it, but Boyd takes the torch and breaks that shit anyway, releasing the cicadas and freeing the 3 trapped whom he saw in the prison he visited: Randall, Julie, and Homegirl. He is transported back to the ruins, and of course, he sees that dog again barking. Finally, we have Tabitha and Victor. Victor agrees to take Tabitha to the giant bottle faraway tree they saw way earlier on in the season. Victor has been tracking this tree down for some time and promises Tabitha this will get her to the lighthouse. He also gives her his lunchbox to keep safe with snackies. A loving embrace, and before we know it, Tabitha is back at the lighthouse. She ascends, just like in her dream, and sees the coastline of an ocean. The boy in white greets her and apologizes, saying this is the only way, before pushing her out the window to her death. However, Tabitha now awakens in a hospital with doctors around her, supposedly having escaped Fromville, but leaving all her family behind. Now, I don't want to be that guy, but it is interesting how for a brief moment one of the computers in the background does show a similar, if not exact same symbol that Jade has been obsessed with. So concludes Season 2, where the stakes are raised even higher. From analyzing and reviewing, I can confirm a lot of the smaller moments in Season 2 exist as clear misdirection of the main plot. Although I will say Season 3 of the show cements it as a frontrunner for Greatest Horror TV series. Most importantly, it allows us to finally decipher where the story is going to end up and what exactly has been happening behind the scenes. I personally love Season 2 just as much as 1, especially because it lays the foundation for what is finally going to come our final section in this video, where we open up on exactly what is happening in Fromville, as well as my theory, which has absolute bulletproof vest on. You cannot find any issue with it. That being said, I do like how this season particularly focuses on the weaknesses of characters and everyone just looking for a better tomorrow.
Now picture walking out, your door is pouring out, you left your windows down, the car is soaked again, but you're already late, so you just get in anyway. That job you hate's a half an hour away, but not today. Today you're gonna get pulled over, that's the bottom line, okay? And they say bad things come in threes, but I've counted 12 and it's only 12 p.m. for me. Wait, hold up, I'ma need myself a shot of dopamine, and I can't wait to go to sleep. Fuck this day, I'm over it, it's over me, that's over D. Life be hitting sometimes and that's a big fact, it's hard to let go. Every now and then everything is whack, everybody just blows. One thing turn to 5 and it starts sliding, that's when I know. Gotta hit reset, I can't be in it, this is not a joke. So I just made a decision I plan to bring to fruition. When I wake up in the morning time, everything will be different. I go to sleep with a mission, when I wake up it's official. I'm over this and it's shifted and now I'm feeling like a new man. What more can I do, man? Everything I'm touching turns to gold and that's the truth, man. What more can I say? I needed a good day. I know that I could bend, but I'm impossible to break. I'm impossible to break like nah. Everybody counted me out like I lost some. Never thought I'd get over it like a boss, huh? All I do is tell myself I'm feeling awesome. Now I'm feeling awesome. And that's the power we have, the power to grab something inside us. How we react and what we attract are coinciding. Always a bad and it's always a reason to feeling slighted, but you can always find a silver lining. And I know it's harder on the days when your relationships get crazy and your thoughts they keep on haunting you. Your tolerance is fading and your common sense ain't common, cause it's telling you to rage, and all the trauma that you face just leads to further isolation. That's enough now. You been feeling stuck, then you ain't got a thing to lose by simply looking up. You fake it till you up, don't let them take your day. You're stronger than your pain, and all you gotta say is I'm feeling like a new man. Everything I'm touching turns to gold and that's the truth. What more can I say? I needed a good day. Know that I could bend, but I'm impossible to break. I'm feeling like a new man. Everything I'm touching turns to gold and that's the truth. What more can I say? I know that I could bend, but I'm impossible to break. I'm feeling like a new man. What more can I do, man? Everything I'm touching turns to gold and that's the truth, man. What more can I say? I needed a good day. I I could bend, but I'm impossible to break. I'm impossible to break like nah, nah, nah. Everybody counted me out like I lost some. Never thought I'd get over it like a boss, huh? All I do is tell myself I'm feeling awesome. Now I'm feeling awesome. I need a good day, I'm sick of the bad ones. All I wanna do is sleep all my pain away. I'm having a hard time making it happen. All the clouds are gray. I don't wanna stay.
Season 3. If you're still with us, consider yourself a member of the Frumily. You also may want to buckle up, as what comes next is sure to break some hearts. From the Season 2 finale, some time has passed. Jade is growing increasingly belligerent over his obsession with the symbol and his visions. Jim is starting to lose his mind, receiving calls from his dead son on the phone, alongside the fear that he may never see his wife again. Boyd is beginning to lose his grip on the people.
Great. I take my goat now? Huh?
Those animals are off limits.
These animals are the only food that we have now.
That's right. They provide eggs, they provide milk. They are a resource. If you hadn't noticed, we're running pretty fucking thin on those these days. Listen. What happened today? Hey, what happened today was a setback. And I get it. I get that we're scared, I get that we're hungry, but look, we're still in this thing. We can still win. But whatever we do, we have to do it carefully. We have to make everything last. Okay? This place will not break us. The only way we go home is together. Okay? So give us time to figure this out. Give me them. Or we can do this right here, right now.
Just give him the goat. People don't have any fucking idea. You don't.
Like,
whatever.
And there are still zero answers for that barking dog. Also, there is now a food shortage on top of too many people living in the town. On Tabitha's side, she awakens in what is known as St. Anthony's Hospital without any identification on her. She sneakily works her way out of the hospital, finding her normal clothes and the lunchbox Victor gave her. While she's walking the streets, she does see glimpses of the boy in white, which now gives us the impression anyone can escape the town. Tabitha also finally gets to borrow a cell phone and calls her mom, who's finally relieved to hear from her. Now, I'm willing to put my money on the line here that this is not an illusion and Tabitha truly is back in the real world. Making her way to a church, she speaks to a pastor looking for answers. We also now know that time in Frumville versus the real world operate on a one-to-one basis. Of course, nothing she says makes much sense to the priest, but he still helps her by listening and even asks what Victor had made her in the lunchbox. This triggers the aha moment where in the lunchbox, Tabitha sees Victor's old address, and now she knows where to go next. We also see that this confirms she is in Camden, Maine. She makes her way to Victor's house and finally meets his dad, right before feigning in front of him. Back to Frumville, Victor pulls the gat on Randall. Elgin continues seeing images of the ghost woman. Jim and Kenny go out looking for food.
Kenny! You gotta come down here.
Look at this. It's growing in patches all around the lake.
There's enough food here to feed everybody in the entire town.
And some of the dense webs that Boyd saw in Season 1, and I want to pause here real quick. Jim and Kenny do find food, but due to the time they need to stay the night in what appears to be these smaller cabins. Outside, they also run into these scarecrows of sorts. While they are MIA, it appears the vampire peeps get into the barn in Fromville and begin letting them out right before nightfall. Meaning Boyd and family need to make a run to save what animals they can, as they are essentially out of food. A lot happens in such a quick time, so we'll get down to the list. Ethan and Julie find themselves near death in the mix-up until Sarah comes in to bring them into the bushes to hide. Randall sees all of the traps the creatures have set and begins blaring the horn on the bus to warn the town. He also ensures that Sarah, Ethan, and Julie end up making it to the bus safe. Victor ends up saving Jade, who is unable to protect the livestock, but makes it back to the bar. In all of this, Boyd is left alone trying to get what animals are left until Kenny's mom comes in behind like the goat with her whole "no, we do together, come on" line that still echoes in my ears. Because this was all a trap. See, the monsters were waiting back in the barn for Boyd, and what follows is one of the worst deaths in the series.
You said this place couldn't break you. Do you remember that, boy? You don't fucking break me. That's what she said.
No! Fuck off me! Let her go! Ah, motherfuck you! I'm gonna fucking kill you! Get these fucking things off me! Kill me! But you leave her alone!
I'm not gonna kill you, Boyd. That would be no fun. You think this place can't break you? Let's see.
Oh, Tio Bukoy! Ingatan ko si Kayla!
No. No, get the fuck! No, hey, look at me! I know, look at me! Huh? Can you see? Look, open your eyes, look at me! What?
Ingatan ko si Kayla!
Okay, say it again! I know, come on, please don't. Hey, don't! Okay, look at him, look at him, I'm sorry. You're so strong, Just... No, I know, God! I know, no, look at me, look, keep your eyes on me.
The creatures tied Boyd up and have him watch as Kenny's mom is torn apart right in front of him. The monsters wanted to lower Boyd's arrogance, and well, they do it. It's a hard scene, as she was always a beacon of safety and calmness for the town. More so that we all see in this scene, it's only Boyd's reaction, his unwillingness to look away, so she knew in her final moments that she was not alone. It's a tough and brutal scene, with dramatic implications to come, as it shows the creatures are learning. They have memories. Their bodies may not fully resemble a human's flawlessly, but their minds do. They know how to make things happen in the town and can bait them into anything. Up until this moment, they were letting all sorts of animals in, so that begs the question, why change now? Jade also discovers Boyd, who is left alive with the keys for his cuffs in his pocket. Tian is brought in for a proper burial. And fun fact, Seasons 1 to 3 never mention this, but I have to. So far, other than the recreational pond near the colony house, this is the first lake that all these people find in the woods. In Season 1, Episode 1, Ethan does talk about the Lake of Tears. It could be just a story in the Chronological book, or this lake is part of his quest in this place. Whether true or not, that might be a plot yet to be revealed. Moving onward, Tabitha awakens in Henry's house, and they have a philosophical debate over how crazy Tabitha may or may not be. Of course, Henry doesn't believe her at first, but she begins mentioning everyone that has gone missing, including Henry's son, Victor. Once she mentions the children she was seeing, that triggers Victor to ease off and open up to her about what he's been through since his wife and kids went missing 40 years ago. Reaffirming that yes, time is a 1-to-1. We saw that Victor was pretty young when he was left in Fromville, and now he's roughly in his early to mid 40s. This matches up with Henry's account. After their debates, it's clear to Henry the only logical explanation is Tabitha is telling the truth and Victor is alive. Which, fun fact. It's strange, the writers here chose Henry to talk only about Victor being alive, or that even the fact that Henry doesn't ask if his wife Miranda or his daughter Eloise are alive or not. It feels out of place that he only focuses on asking about Victor, even though Henry mentions this was his boy and little girl's bedroom. The photos on the wall show the girl too. He has a heavy emphasis on the son more than anything. This could be a relationship dynamic, but I highly doubt that, as he has nothing but fond memories portrayed about his wife, or at least that we know of. Odds are this is the script writers kinda cheating a little bit, emphasizing the details they want you to focus on. Remember, with film or TV, you are only seeing what the writers want you to, just like the people in this town with the Frumsters. Yeah, kind of like the Munsters. How am I this far in the script? And you know what? We're gonna just call the vampire dudes the Frumsters now.
The lesson I want you to learn is it doesn't matter what you look like. What does matter is the size of your heart and the strength of your character.
The image below shows a green painting on the floor, reclined against a brown table. The painting shows a forest and some sort of circle of stones. This resembles the circle of stones where Father Cowtree buried his bag with the bloodied shirt, a bottle, and a chocolate bar. He used to go there to meditate. Now I'm going to go through some of the paintings that do exist in this house. We do have the painting in front of Tabitha with a fully dark background. Unsure who that is, but the person seems to have 2 or 3 talismans stacked together. I also wonder if that means like the talismans can be placed for a purpose of sorts, kind of like the faraway trees. The painting that is standing against the wall near the window has a large yellow rectangle. It has the red motel sign. That means the yellow rectangle is the pool. I'm intrigued about 2 paintings that have the same theme. A man wearing a black long shirt with sleeves and a black hat. That references something we're going to see in the Season 4 trailer. We also have the fact that his throat area is surrounded by a white something. Looks like a Victorian neck collar, which does allude to, again, another character we will see in Season 4. That hasn't been seen yet in Season 1 to 3. Another painting shows a dry tree with no leaves, but it has no bottles. 2 of the paintings show black holes with white bars. These are seen in the tunnels, where one of the children rolled a ball at a monolith that came crumbling down in front of Tabitha. The paintings below have a very important character. First, Miranda painted here the lighthouse. The last painting to the right is a Civil War Union soldier, which saw Jade in one of his lucid visions. But the important one here is the man in the yellow jacket. This guy is gonna be arguably the most important character in the franchise, and someone that is set and teed up to be the main villain, but I'm not so certain. There are more paintings shown in this lengthy dialogue by Henry. It shows that Miranda was unique among any of the other people who entered the town. She had visions of that place before she even found the fallen tree on the road. Akin to, say, Ellis's paintings in Season 1, although a lot of what he didn't do until he got to the town. We also have the painting below, which is meant to show 6 children playing on a merry-go-round, the one next to the Matthews house, where we also saw the boy in white waving to Victor. The painting below shows the Colony House. We also have the church and its cemetery, and A few additional ones here. The first one is one of the Frumsters, the one that dresses with a white uniform and white hat. I think it is meant to represent an ice cream vendor in the 60s. He's shown up many times at night through the first 3 seasons so far. The last painting to the far right is of immediate concern. That's the third painting that shows a man in a black shirt, black hat, and what looks like a Victorian neck ruffle. This character hasn't been shown again anywhere, which means he is meant to appear in a future season, which thankfully we did see in a trailer. Hey there, I had to drop a quick fun fact here. This is post-editing cookies as I'm finishing up this video. This spot is going to be kind of out of nowhere. This is just a theory I had. So we're all trying to understand who the heck Martin is from season 2, right? Well, he does have an elongated beard and his facial hair does match this character in particular. Maybe he was one of the original people that was a part of the ritual. Maybe this gentleman was a part of the overarching ritual of this town, which we're going to get to in the later half of this season. For anyone that has seen it, just pumping it into your ears. 3 paintings showing him has to mean the production wants us to remember him from the paintings, because he has the most consistency out of anything else that is shown. Now, it is important to note Victorian neck ruffles were invented in the mid-1600s and were used in England up to the mid-1700s. In one of Tabitha's dreams, when she climbed the tower stairs, there were year numbers written in concrete in one of the dreams. When she climbed the tower stairs, there were a few variations. We saw 1609, 1672, and 1752. This character in the painting might be from one of those eras. Now, Tabitha gasps when she sees a painting Miranda made of the boy in white, the same boy that pushed Tabitha through the lighthouse's glass, which landed her in the real world in Maine. Back in town, Kenny makes it back with great news for food. But then the news hit, his mom is now added to the got wrecked list.
Hey, we found food! Look at this. There's a lake and it's got everything. It's got vegetables. There's potatoes. There might even be fish in the water.
What's going on? Where are my kids?
They're fine. They're okay.
Whose blood is that?
Kenny.
Where's my mom?
Kenny, maybe we should go inside. Kenny.
Mom? Ma! Ma! Stop! No. Ma! Ma!
Hey, bud. Ken.
No, stop.
Bud,
No.
So
stop! No!
Listen,
No! Stop! Just stop.
Okay.
Okay? Okay. Yeah. I got it.
This breaks Kenny, who now decides he wants to go into the tunnels and burn all of the creatures alive, even if it means he doesn't make it back. Boyd goes with Kenny down to the tunnels and agrees to go through with the plan, even if they don't make it out. In Boyd's words, we'll kill as many of them motherfuckers as we can. The two have a moment, and thankfully Kenny breaks down with Boyd's help. Also, I'm not going to censor it anymore at this point. This video is already demonetized, so, throw me a subscription, throw me a like.
Like and subscribe, follow me here, follow me there, follow me everywhere. Let's go game with a purpose. Like and subscribe, follow me here, follow me there, follow me everywhere. Let's go game with a purpose.
Getting all of his anger out, they 86 the plan and decide to head back to Tien's funeral. Ellis and Fatima are trying to figure out their ish. Fatima's pregnancy is getting strange, as now she's losing teeth and beginning to have the lust for both blood and rotten vegetables, to where she cannot stomach anything else. Now back in Maine, Henry takes Tabitha to the basement. It all started during Henry's birthday, you see. Miranda and Henry were hippies back in the day. They gave up the drinking and the drugs when she got pregnant with Victor, when Henry turned 35. Years later, Miranda got in her head they would take a stroll down memory lane, and she obtained acid for her last drug trip. That's when the voices started in her head. When she started seeing visions, she painted everything she saw. Miranda told Henry that she has been chosen. It was a place that was everywhere, but you couldn't find it if you tried. A place you can stumble from anywhere, but never find a way to leave. Miranda said there were people there. People who were lost and afraid, who found themselves living inside a nightmare that they couldn't escape, fighting a battle they knew they couldn't win. She said they were holding on to hope, and when that hope was gone, they held on to each other. It sounded like riddles, gibberish. She said that of all people who would find their way to this place, she was the one who had been chosen to free the children. Spoken like a true acid trip off cops. But she wasn't the first. Others were chosen before her. She could see all of those chosen, and everyone had failed. None got to set the children free. If Tabitha has also seen the children, that means she has also been chosen. So then how did Tabitha escape, and why? We also see that in Henry's house, the backyard has a bottle tree just like the one in Frumville. It is also confirmed that Miranda created bottle trees just like this one in the backyard, and that maybe they can go to the one where she had all her visions. My assumption was to create a consistent path back to the town, at least that was the theory. A frequency for a radio, if you will, to complete her mission. The two decide to go to the tree, and during the drive, it appears a cassette is stuck in the player of the car, with Blue being the song name. And fun fact, in Season 1, Episode 4, Iraq and a Far Away, the song Blue by Joni Mitchell plays in the jukebox at the diner. That is the scene when Boyd eats dinner with the Matthews for the first time since their arrival into town. And seconds later, Sarah reels in pain and sees the words "kill the boy" carved on her left arm, then collapses to the ground with a seizure. Shit gets crazier as soon Tabitha notices in the car compartment her lost bracelet, which was found in Season 1, is now here in the car. The freakout causes her to have second thoughts, which of course leads to the inevitable car crash. When she awakens, she is in an ambulance with Henry and SpaghettiOs. She is now at the tree in the road and heading back to Frumville. This is the one part of the season I think is a tad cheesy. On paper, the mystery works quite well, but IDK feels a bit silly, almost like a Scooby-Doo doorway scene that always takes you somewhere else in the house. Granted, Frumville kind of operates with Scooby-Doo long hallway logic, so I digress. In terms of the story, this can confirm the tree is not randomly appearing all the time. Some forces can harness the power of the town, but cannot escape it outright. We see the boy in white through Tabitha's eyes, so my guess is someone who has been to the town can still have influence in the real world, which bakes into my big theory at the end of this season. Would explain why Tabitha sees her bracelet again, and why it just so happens they hit the tree yet again. The boy knows Tabitha can set the kid's spirits free, and if Tabitha is a frequency amongst various radio waves, so to speak, the town is dialing her back in. This also harkens back to a convo Donna had with Fatima on whether everything in the town is inherently evil. In many cases in life, it's not power that's evil, but more so how it's implemented, how it's used. The next section of the series begins bringing on an offensive mindset. So often have the people been acting against what has happened. Now it's time to get smart. Boyd theorizes with Kenny on how a talisman could potentially trap a creature in a room, maybe even for questioning. Jade also visits the cops that Jim and Kenny found with a crew of misfits to bring all of the goodies back to town. He sees the scarecrow and wonders if they were used in the same manner the talismans were. I will put out one of two theories. Either A, they were the talismans in a previous cycle of the town, or B, they are used for protection against whatever giant creatures we have yet to see. Kenny asks Jade, Dale, and Roger to gather more goodies. Jade notices next to him a rock painted red. He removes the snow from the top, then turns and sees a dead man hanging from a tree, a large nail impaling his head to it, his right eye to be exact. And fun fact, this is interesting as it does beg the question why this method is chosen. Remember this girl in season 2, the one that had the lobotomy in her head? Similar style of execution, and this is going to allude to another character we're seeing a bit down the road. But again, I digress. Krista ends up getting caught in a bear trap, which kinda sorta sucks, and makes this whole issue a million times worse as of course it's almost nighttime. Jade and Dale get her free, and in doing this, he sees the dead man from earlier drinking blood from a skull, then offering it to Jade. We're going to pivot from this team for now, as they are going to hide out in the cabins at night, cause freak it, YOLO. In the meantime, Victor arrives to Sarah's crib and begins making a fort. A pillow fort, the same one I do whenever I tune this show each week. He goes on and sets the stage of how him and his sister were supposed to stay in the cellar while their mom saved the world, except Eloise left that night. The scene also shows us that both Victor and Sarah now know each have seen the boy in white. We then learn the boy in white had Victor collect belongings from everyone who died to bury, similar to Katri in season 1, with the emphasis of what he did as soon as he got to the town. You may ask why Victor picked Sarah. Well, in a stroke of genius, he knows the memories are scary, so he picked the scariest thing in Fromville. Randall starts carving images in wood because dude's going bonkers, and he is haunted by the cicada's sounds, which constantly stem in his head on and off. He is saved from this illusion from Boyd, who now wants to spend the night out in the RV with Randall to see exactly what these creatures are up to. Tilly, in the meantime, discovers the issues Fatima is having and knows it's due to pregnancy. She relates close to her and does a tarot reading, which of course brings a giant crow into Colony House, which goes full-on belligerent. Crow dies and everyone finds it weird, yada yada yada. Elgin also is continuing to see the Komodo, homie too, thanks, bye. Alright ladies and gents, time to announce some new faces to the team. In the ambulance we have an officer by the name of Acosta, which, fun fact, this is the only character in From that's revealed by her last name. I have a theory on that, but more about that later. Ethan now gets calls from his dead brother, who now announces to him how his mom is in trouble in an ambulance. So that's sorta weird. This feels more like an immediate trick by the town versus any sort of significant lore piece, so we can disregard it for now. Jim thankfully does the dad thing and shuts that shit down. We then have good old Nikki. Oh, you don't know Nikki? Oh, you're gonna soon. She's cleaning up crow blood. She also bullied Fatima earlier in the season for spending too much time in the bathroom, and in this episode she apologizes. There's a clear reason now I haven't spent any time on her. Take a guess. In Sarah's house, Victor and her continue playing Fort, going over his past, but this one line has a ton of weight to it. Vic claims his sister loved Sarah's house the most, but he never knew why. This plot thread is all about Victor going through the drawings, with Sarah trying to understand why his mom died alongside everyone else. All he can remember is that they all died, but not how. Lo and behold, it's spooky From time as it's about to get real. EMT guys do not have names, so we will enforce them as Thing 1 and Thing 2. They continue driving in circles at night while Tabitha freaks out. Before they get to town, Boyd and Randall notice something is up. No monsters. Randall even confirms this is the first night where they have not been out. Even the nurse who routinely bothers Randall at the same 10 minutes every single night. Once the ambulance arrives, shit hits the fan. Jim wants to get the ambulance as the voice on the phone was right. Ethan storms out to chase after the ambulance, in which Randall, Boyd, and Jim all bring him back to Kenny's house. Unfortunately, in the road, there is a woman lying dead in the middle. Thing 1 gets out of the ambulance to check while Acosta cuffs Tabitha to the railing. Unfortunately, we get a 2-for-1 here where the dead woman is actually a monster. Oh, what a shock, and both Thing 1 and Thing 2 are mutilated. Acosta attempts to shoot at the creatures, realizing bullets aren't doing jack all. A stray bullet unfortunately hits Nikki in the liver inside Colony House and kills her as well. So that's a 3-piece, and we've only just begun. I think it's interesting to note we see a new creature here, a bride monster who I never once saw in any other episode. There's not much else I can do here, but it's worth noting. Henry and Tabitha are also left behind because Acosta gives no fucks. To save the day, Jim pops in and finds both Tabitha and Henry in the back of the ambulance. For people hating on Jim, my guy immediately said, I don't care. If there's even a 5% chance, then I'm going to go find my wife. Randall then recommends a toolkit from the bus they can use to get Tabitha free. All the while, Acosta makes it into the house she shot by accident, having a breakdown that she did not mean to hurt anyone. Back outside, Randall begins seeing cicadas but pushes on for the tools, while Boyd searches the EMT corpses for keys. Randall makes his way to the ambulance, but gets cornered by 4 creatures, so he whips it out. His talisman. Which of course the creatures taunt him, claiming that's not how that works. He tosses the bag to Boyd as he breaks on back to the bus. See, Randall has a history of sticking his neck out for others. First with Jim's house collapse, and now with Tabitha. Oddly enough, it's always when Tabitha is in danger. The cicadas in his imagination come back to haunt him, however, and before you know it, he is taken down to the ground and surrounded by them all, staring at him. Jim works on prying the cuffs open for Tabitha, while Boyd continues looking for the keys until the nurse appears and makes him a deal. He can have them, but Randall stays with the monsters. This is such a jacked up moment, and unfortunately Boyd hits them with a giant middle finger and takes the deal. Randall's left with the monsters begging for Boyd's help, while Boyd takes Jim, Henry, and Tabitha back to Colony House. For reasons we'll get into soon, this moment may have the biggest implication of dominoes to fall in later seasons, but for now, we focus on the house as they all make it back safe, minus Randall. Acosta gets shit on, to the point Boyd loses it, cussing out his own son, and Donna sending him upstairs for what he has just done. I mean, it went south, so everyone in this house is high-strung without a doubt. Fatima even sneakily starts sticking her fingers in Nikki's bloody wound and getting a little lick, which is kinda weird, and Henry gets acclimated to his new life. Tabitha reunites with her husband and kids, and of course Komodo Lady begs Elgin for his help yet again. In Sarah's basement, Victor removes a watch from a man horribly eaten up, with a massive hole in the torso and his backbone and inner ribs exposed. The watch belonged to Mr. Gerber. He always smelled like onions. Those grew wild in the woods, and he would eat them raw. Raw onions. The same raw food that Fatima is also eating. I'm not saying there's a correlation of some conscious entities being intertwined in the town, but I might be saying that. Victor and Sarah ultimately go through the objects and realize what is missing is the puppet a guy named Christopher had. His name was Jasper. To end the night, it appears the ambulance alarm also goes off, with Randall's body on top. His face and neck have been lacerated, but the creatures left him alive. Of course, the following scene is rough, because Randall is sorta right. Yes, Boyd had a pretty lopsided choice, but Boyd did decide to leave him for the sake of the group, something that doesn't sit too well with him. At this point, we don't know why Randall was left alive, but my initial thought was to add a splinter in the group. However, I do believe it goes farther than that. Randall spends a good amount of time in the clinic under the care of Christy and Marielle. But now the big question on everyone's mind, how is the town going to respond to Tabitha? Well, not very good. She is now the only person who has escaped back into the real world, and of course, like assholes, everyone has an opinion. or whatever the saying is. Everyone has issues with what she chose to and to not do. She called her mom, but then never went to the police. All of this escalates as Jade even confronts Tabitha in their home, getting into a pushing match with Jim. All of this boils to the realization that maybe the bottles in the tree could have some form of significance. This also brings up my favorite quote in the series, where Jade openly jokes that a meeting with more than 3 people is useless. I 100% agree. Henry and a select few people side with Tabitha in the meeting, but the majority of the town wants her to answer for the inability to provide answers. To the point Dale himself, guy who stabbed Ellis back in season 2, believes it is time to take immediate action, and he begins taking shots at Donna and Boyd's leadership. The town and everyone eventually learn about the tree through this meeting, the big bottle tree, the faraway trees, and this causes people like even Fatima and Ellis to turn on Boyd, which is crazy. Boyd's acting. Look, in this season, my man deserved a nomination, because he goes places, and watching it in real time, it's an absolute treat. Compound this with Donna's heart to hear with Victor that his dad Henry is finally returned. Victor, having PTSD over how impossible this is, now openly avoiding most people he can in the hopes he can gather enough materials to find that stupid puppet in the tunnels. This Jasper dude has the answers. See, on top of this, Sarah being his A1 day one in this journey above ground, he even rests his head on her at one point, which there isn't major lore significance here, but I love how this season emphasizes the human connection with all of these people that are still human, regardless of what this town forces into their hands and what they have done. It's also a great scene design having this town hall meeting take place in the diner, a place where Chen brought all the peace outside those petty jukeboxes. Friendships begin to form as now Julie and Elgin also begin smoking that good devil's lettuce stuff and joking about all the crazy stuff they have witnessed. They go to the basement, playing dress up, and good old Elgin finds a camera, takes photos, and shows the Komodo lady ghost in them. Spooky. The next scene I'm going to speak out and narrate, as I feel this is the biggest emphasis of contention for Season 4. After the Diner Town Hall situation, Acosta enters the sheriff's station. She thanks Boyd for what he said in the meeting at the diner. She can't take back shooting at Nikki by accident, but she thinks she can help. If he wants people to take their minds off the tree, he should give them a project to focus on. They had this big storm that hit the coast last year, and it flooded half the town and knocked out all the power. People were scared and angry. The precinct captain got everyone out to sandbag the marina, moving on both Henry and Ethan and up chatting about Tabitha, and of course this leads to the grand reveal that brought everyone's hearts some joy. Moving on, both Henry and Ethan are chatting about Tabitha, and of course this leads to the grand reveal that brought everyone's hearts joy. Victor reunites with his dad. Now this is such a beautiful moment in a season filled with nothing but pain and chaos. I love it. There's no hesitation either. Despite all the things they question as real, it did not matter. None of it mattered in this one specific moment, where both of them were simply happy to see the other after roughly 40 years. Of course, we can't end on such a happy note. Tabitha and Jim end up going to the bottle tree and unhook some bottles. Each one has a 4-digit number in them. Jade and Tabitha also start piecing together some of the mystery, discussing the visions of kids being laid out on stones and the mysterious symbol Jade saw in the vines in Season 2. Alongside the Haktoi kids, which they're saying like Ankui, but I think Haktoi just works a little bit better. So from here on out, we're going to refer to them as the Haktoi kids, which now it is revealed. Good old Dale was nearby listening. What a shock. He doesn't care about the plot, but now that he has the faraway tree, he decides to take fate into his own hands and jump in to escape the town and ultimately bring help back. Congratulations, you exfiltrated. Which, speaking of town, Boyd and Ellis get into quite an argument in broad daylight. To be fair, both sides have a point. Boyd isn't trying to break doors down that he has no idea what's on the other side. But at the same time, Ellis doesn't want the town to be limited in their ability to find solutions or a means to escape. Briefly, as Boyd is inside the bus in town, Bacta also gives him the good ol' "hey, if you need anything, I am on your side" speech. Remember this, it's gonna come up in season 4, I promise you. All of this also comes to a halt when a large group of townsfolk starts screaming at an unfortunate sight in the abandoned pool. Boyd jumps down, and to the horrors of the town, it looks like the faraway tree worked. Remember when Victor in season 1 said you can't control where it takes you? Well, it sent Dale right into the concrete of the pool for everyone to see, as he slowly chokes on the concrete from the inside out. Boyd uses this moment to show everyone that he is merely trying to protect them. Thus, he puts an end to Dale's suffering. Donna's reaction here is horrifying and some of the best acting in the show. Probably because it isn't acting, since that is her hubby in real life. We move on to a fun evening shouting match between Tabitha and Jim. Both have been at ends on how to handle the town, alongside ensuring they are there long term for their kids. To the point the creatures outside even scream as if they're notifying the Matthews to sit down and just shut the fuck up. The mystery of the tree numbers continues in the bar with Boyd and Jade.
Maybe the lighthouse in the woods occupies the same space as Camden, Maine. Maybe it wasn't a wormhole so much as a dimensional rift.
Jade.
I can understand an awful lot of people get confused, but the truth is a wormhole is a shortcut through space and time, whereas a dimensional rift...
Jade, stop.
Sorry, what?
I thought you said you had something exciting to show me.
Yeah. All right, okay, listen. I understand why you might be skeptical. I am too. Something tells me that this, it has to mean something. The bottle tree was important to Miranda, right? And according to Tabitha, she's the only one who had a connection to this place long before she arrived.
Did you look at the bottles from the other tree?
What other tree? The one in Maine? No, how could I?
The one... Sarah and I found one of these trees when we went out into the woods together. It wasn't a portal tree, but it still had bottles hanging from it, messages inside. I pulled one down. It said 1864. 1864.
Where's the second tree?
Is it an algorithm? A code? It is another fun fact. When designing this show, the creators implemented these numbers, the same ones scribbled on the lighthouse stairwell in season 1, as a shot at fans who gave Lost crap for the numbers being pointless. Except I promise you, the numbers matter here. Jade does mention that Tabitha being pushed out of Lighthouse and ending up in Maine theoretically could even work if it was a sort of quantum event. Loosely teased in season 1, but essentially there is a basis in quantum physics that determines objects in motion can stop at an immediate rest when going through, say, wormholes, for example. Because otherwise her fall would have killed her, but thanks to quantum physics, she acts just like the rock that Victor pushes through the tree in season 1. Almost like Victor and the faraway tree kind of mirror the same concept of how the lighthouse also works. Is it a grander faraway tree? You tell me. This comes into the next revelation, where Boyd mentioned he saw another bottle tree back in season 1, which also had bottles with codes. These codes match this other tree as well. Both had an 1864 code in it. Everyone's immediate thought is the date theory. Doesn't work here, but hey, what major event took place during 1864? The writers could have picked any 4 digits here, but they chose this one. Oh yeah, it's the Civil War. Arguably the turning point with the Battle of St. Petersburg. Now, it is eventually revealed that these numbers have more meaning beyond a date, but my assumption is this is a cheeky allusion to when the town first gained its mysterious powers, or more importantly, where things officially went south with a villain we have yet to witness. We haven't talked much about the clinic, because to be fair, not much happens. Randall opens up about the horrors he saw when the cicadas got him. Seeing how Marielle handles it, Christy also walks around in a crutch from where her foot got freaked. Boyd wishes to apologize to Randall, but is struggling to see him. The good news is that the ambulance was stocked in medical supplies, even an ultrasound for Fatima. If you're wondering how she's doing, she's not doing good. Not good at all. Well, she told Ellis her strange cravings in which he's keeping it under wraps, soon letting his dad Boyd know what's happening to her. Tabitha and Donna have a moment of embrace at Dale's makeshift grave that also is covering him up so people don't freak out. Makeshift grave. Followed by Victor, who now agrees to let Henry follow him into the tunnel, using toy soldiers as breadcrumbs so they can find their way back out. There are some jump scares and a near fatal escape, with one creature stating something quite interesting to Victor. If you keep coming down here, one of these days we'll make you stay. They succeed in escaping with Jasper the puppet. Jade has a heart-to-heart with dead Tom about sobering up so he can find some answers. Tom says the man Jade used to be, who built a company and sold it, was smarter. Maybe Jade needs to sober up and give that former self guy a call. Which, if you know the twist of this season, this line here is a complete dead giveaway of what's actually transpiring with some of our main characters. It's actually brilliant. Donna finishes the pile of rocks to cover Dale's corpse. Kenny asks if she has room at the colony house for him now that he is unfortunately alone. Chen was the only thing that made his house feel like home. Donna, of course, says Kenny is welcome to live there and holds him close. And he makes a joke if, she's still throwing those sex parties or whatever's going on. Of course, there's a chuckle, and Donna asks him to go pack his shit before she changes her mind. We then teleport back to the bar, where the numbers may be the same, but the details simply don't match. Some are in different positions, others in cursive, but there's something here that needs to be understood for them to have a clear escape. With Randall's recent connections in the clinic, he is also opening up and moving in with the homies. Of course, Julie and Randall connect on how she is doing from the cicadas. This leads to smoking more of the devil's lettuce, which you may need to pass the blunt because the next revelation is a mind blow. At the clinic, the ultrasound is used on Fatima, who is openly pregnant, except it shows she does not have any baby actively inside her. Fun fact. Ultrasounds work in a really interesting way. See, they create real-time images by emitting high-frequency, inaudible sound waves from a handheld transducer into the body, where they bounce off tissue and fluids as echoes. This is a kinda semi-spoiler, but if you remember in Season 2, when Christy cuts open Mr. Smiley, only to not find any fluids beyond bowel, an empty shell, this is a quite in-your-face tease of Fatima eventually birthing someone we haven't seen in a little while. But we won't get ahead of ourselves. Yet. I just think that's such a cool aha moment on a rewatch. Fatima also breaks down, and now Christy and the squad know of her strange cravings as well. Elgin now begins hanging photos up, the ones he's been taking of people in Colony House, and oh lord, the one he took of Fatima has— oh, there's Mr. Peanut, uh-oh. Oh, we're gonna have to take 5, people.
Like and subscribe, follow me here, follow me there, follow me everywhere. Let's go game with a purpose. Like and subscribe, follow me here, follow me there, follow me everywhere. Let's go game with a purpose.
Has the Komodo ghost in it. Spooky! She also whispers in his ear, "Help me, Elgin. I can save you." All of this to end the episode on a conversation again with Jade and Tabitha. She has visions or memories, one should say, of when she was 6, running from something around 3 red stones. The same Jade also saw, meaning that both Jade and Tabitha are seeing similar visions or memories. At this point in the season, Boyd begins breaking down. First, it was seeing Chen die. Then it was losing innocent lives to Acosta. Then the town beginning to turn on him, leading to Dale's death. And now it's Fatima's maybe not pregnancy, in which he tells Christy to do her fucking job and figure this out. Boyd starts losing it big time. Now everyone begins debating the state of Fatima. In Colony House, Tilly is roaming around checking on people, in which Elgin states he's making some chimes to cheer Fatima up. The camera goes off showing a photo to Elgin that we as the audience don't know yet. It gets worse when we see Donna finally say that with everything going on, Fatima may be a danger to Colony House and maybe should live elsewhere. In other news, Julie begins massively flirting with Randall. To the point when he says he wants to be alone, Julie asks to follow him anyways. It's kinda weird, but I don't think it's out of place in the lore. Props to Randall, as in the show, let me check, he's 31 years old, and not entertaining vibes around this 17-year-old Julie. I have a killer theory behind this that goes far past the Julie trying to bag. The two go in the forest as Randall's looking for mushrooms that grow in the wilderness, shockingly mirroring the same style that Henry and Miranda were into. Stay tuned. The two get to chatting and Julie reveals she was gonna hit up the DMV before this from town happened. Lo and behold, Randall takes her in a van and teaches her how to start driving. I don't see any significance here other than a fun fact. This episode focuses heavily on cycles and stories repeating themselves. Kenny offering tea to calm Acosta the same way his mom did to him. Julie and Randall smoking the dope the same way Miranda and Henry did. Disclaimer, it's not dope, it's marijuana, etc. This scene of learning to drive pays homage to season 2 of Lost, where another character from that show is in the same exact, predicament. Randall begins hearing cicadas again and freaks out until him and Julie discover the same ruins Boyd did during season 2. Both of them get uncomfy vibes and decide to leave together, as this place was their prison during season 2. Now I want to preface, this line here from Kenny is arguably the most pivotal line in the series. Kenny says he has met many people who do the same thing, and he was on the other side that Acosta stands on in a conversation between the two in the diner. The thing is, you come to realize that every question you are asking has been asked before. Every theory that you have, someone else has had before you. And at some point, you either adapt or you lose your mind. Especially in the context that every emotion you have, even you as the viewer right now, someone else has already had and will continue to have. Acosta and Kenny have a heart-to-heart here, which ends with Kenny supporting Boyd and Acosta rejecting his leadership role for the people of Fromville. Acosta later hits up Boyd in the sheriff's station again, and they have a back and forth over whether she was just in her actions and who should be leading the people of this town. Acosta finally aims to get her gun back, which Boyd hands over, but will not give her the bullets back until he believes she has earned it. This totally is going to become a redemption arc in season 4, I can already see it. From the photo Elgin saw earlier, it reveals the root cellar. Of course Elgin explores, and lo and behold, there's a secret entrance leading to a room with a bed and shackles. A twin-sized bed to be exact, and the remains of someone that was here before. Further along, Jim and Tabitha and Jade all begin exploring the decayed ruins for answers. Any at this point. Since Tabitha reveals these visions she has are different from others, that she sees herself as a little girl. Jade says maybe Aristotle got it all wrong. That free will and determinism. Jade changes course here and says Miranda said she was chosen as well, right? If seeing this place, these visions, these dreams, if that's the proof, and you saw this place as a child, then you would always end up at the tree in the road. No matter what she did, that tree was still going to come into play. This episode focuses heavily on how characters react to those whose time may be limited. This upcoming episode, Ellis not realizing how to help Fatima, fearing the same fate as his mom. Tilly even has an incredible scene where she openly discusses with Ellis the idea of grief. Don't grieve the living before they are dead. That's not why they're here, which is what she told her family when she got her cancer diagnosis. Tilly has been such a breath of fresh air. Many assumed she was possibly a plant, the same one Randall alluded to in season 2. But I was always under the impression, and rightfully so, that she was simply misdirection. Tilly lived a life, and she has seen so much already. She truly just wants to ease the pain of others, which is why she even helps Fatima out in the greenhouse. Fatima bent over in pain until a random outburst occurs and she is overcome with anger, to the point she openly stabs Tilly with shears, killing her. And Tilly is the GOAT, with her final words begging Fatima to run so no one would know what she did. Of course, Ellis sees the remnants of this happen, and now shit is about to hit the fan, for like the 18th time this season. Boyd, having learned from Ellis what happened, takes Fatima to the shack in the forest, same one that Frank in season 1 was supposed to go to. Gives her a talisman and has her stay put until the issue is quote-unquote resolved. Once Tilly is found, people will want the killer in the box. Fatima does utter that it felt like what's inside her made her do this. Same as Sarah with her voices. Boyd also leaves her rotten food as a way to appease whatever pains she is going through. In a shocking twist, for the first time in the show, Boyd is putting his family first now, instead of the protection of the town. In the meantime, Jade runs into Victor at the bar, and the two have a heart-to-heart over the status of the town. Jade and Randall debate whether to go back to the crazed temple place. Randall and Julie debate whether they go back to the crazed temple place, the ruins. Ellis debates with Boyd on whether to come clean about Tilly's death, which has now gotten everyone in the town worked the fuck up. Like, this is stage 3, catastrophic nightmare. And then, of course, Acosta takes the lead with playing murder mystery, while Donna and many others start blaming Sarah for this death immediately, as she has already killed people in the town before, like her brother Nate in season 1. Jim comments on the phone call from their dead son prior, informing Tabitha that this place knows more than it should, almost like it's kind of reassessing my entire subconscious connection theory, but I digress. Like a Megamycete, of course. Meanwhile, Sarah tries to help Victor with Jasper, but Victor won't take anyone's help now, but Tabitha, who agrees without hesitation. Victor claims it can only be Tabitha. They're going to work on the doll for a little bit, and eventually learn that the answers they seek are in the basement of the church, where this conversation between Chris and Jasper took place. Not to mention, Elgin heads into the clinic to steal a bunch of medical supplies for unknown fucking reasons. Getting caught by Randall, but ultimately, fist pump broing it up and apologizing for their fight on the bus in season 2. At the bar, Henry continues to drink. He tells Jade that his wife Miranda had visions of this place. Jade says he's heard it. Henry thought she was crazy. He should have listened to his wife, of course. Henry asks what exactly makes Jade think he will be the one who is going to figure this out. He imagines a lot of pretty smart people have already tried, and maybe tried similar ideas. Jade simply claims he's smarter. At this point, Jim enters the bar, and we get a standoff where Jim wants Jade to straight up stay away from his wife, that this isn't helping her mental state. I'm gonna say, this next scene is arguably one of my favorite in the show. Henry and Jim, they have a heart-to-heart. Henry says, and I quote, "Maybe sometimes when you're with your wife, you should just shut the fuck up and listen. I look at you right now. All I see is me standing there 40 years ago. I was so sure I could fix Miranda. It never occurred to me she wasn't broken. That arrogant fella who stormed out of here, he was right about one thing. What you are doing, how tight you are holding on to everything. You may tell yourself you are doing it for your family, but you are doing it because you are scared, and you are doing it solely for yourself. I'm probably the only guy in this whole place who can tell you that and say it is true." In a bombshell of a twist, Julie takes Ethan to the ruins and both step forward until they hit a boom wormhole. Julie is brought to the same prison where Martin was. She sees herself, Randall, and Marielle, all chained up from season 2 when the cicadas came, which means Julie has time traveled. She's a story jumper of sorts, the same one that Ethan joked about in season 1. Of course, she has a mental breakdown and then reawakens next to Ethan in the abandoned ruins. As they scream for help, Kenny and Acosta, who have been playing detective in the woods, are nearby and come to the rescue. We then get an interesting cut to Julie, who awakens in the past, after Boyd broke the music box. We see now that in an amnesia-based memory of Martin, we see now that there's a memory of Martin asking Julie to lower the rope for Boyd, the same one that I'm sure everyone was like, how the hell is this chained up guy lowering your rope? Well, that's how. There are some theories speculating Martin is a version of Randall, but that is overtly complicated and doesn't make sense, so we're going to shut that down. How does Martin essentially know Julie's name? That is the question. Now there are two theories here. Theory 1. You are already reading a recap with the word spoilers, so you shouldn't complain here now about me spoiling what happens in the next couple of episodes in Season 3. So Ethan calls Julie a story walker, which allows her to visit past chapters of a story, like you're reading a book. According to Ethan, she can visit them, but she can't change the story. Same as a reader, say if you're reading Goosebumps or whatever tickles your pickle, and you just go back to previous chapters to re-experience them. Maybe get a different perspective. That's to be explored later, but what matters is that if true, Storywalker Julie can visit an era when Victor was a kid, or an era in the mid-1800s. This means that potentially, in one of those story walks, Julie might meet a younger Martin in the 1800s or mid-1900s. This could explain how Martin knows Julie, but she doesn't know him. She is yet to storywalk to his younger self's era, where Martin meets her for the first time. Trivia as well, the U.S. Marine Corps globe, eagle, and anchor was incorporated to a flag in, guess what, 1868, which shows you that Martin is post-1868, which we have already seen that number numerous times in this show, but I digress. Go into theory 2. This theory is the opposite version of the previous one. Martin might be a person that gets introduced in an upcoming season as a young person that finds the tree on the road and enters the town. He meets Julie. Later, he is captured and chained in the tower for decades. Julie appears before him, and he recognizes Julie. From present time Julie's point of view, she hasn't met Martin yet. She meets him days or weeks later as a younger Martin. If you complain about the paradox, well, buckle up. You will see another paradox happen in a few paragraphs after this block. This is less likely, though, from the two theories, as we have seen time in Fromville is a one-to-one in the real world beyond creatures that simply don't age. Regardless of your views, you can't have a great psychological horror without a Deus Ex Machina. Buckle up, it's about to get crazier. Julie escapes the prison cell per Martin's commands and ends up in the tunnel where Victor and Tabitha ended up in the start of Season 2. Oddly enough, mirroring the image of when Tabitha saw the ghost kid. Before she could continue her jumps, Kenny and Acosta do wake her up. Boyd does come clean now to Donna on where he took Fatima, the damage it would cause the town knowing that Fatima was the one to break. Pause on this here. Victor, Tabitha, Sarah make it to the basement in the church, and it was revealed the man Christopher was talking to the boy in white. The answers to the end are at the beginning. It started with the children, what the others did to them, the people they loved and trusted. The children are born in the dark, and then they were murdered in the dark. But someone who loved them told them a story. The story gave them hope. And when the children laid on the stones, they poured their hope into the roots that made the symbol. And those roots became the tree. Now, if you're thinking this is simply Dark Souls 1, you're kinda right, but let's keep it going. Sarah says, the faraway tree. Victor says, the boy in white was trying to tell Christopher that to save the freaking children, he would have to go through the faraway tree. But he wouldn't listen. He got angry. Christopher claiming, you're a liar. Everything lies here. Victor remembers now. Christopher wouldn't listen to the boy in white, so Victor told his mom what the boy in white said. That is what caused Miranda to go to the faraway tree to save the children in the lighthouse, which ultimately led to Miranda's death and Eloise's disappearance. One revelation after another, Elgin takes his blood jars and medical equipment he stole and uses pictures from the Polaroid to find Fatima. Elgin, of course, brings Fatima to the hidden room in the root cellar and decides to lock her away. Elgin has become increasingly obsessed with the baby, stating to Fatima, there is a baby, it's just not hers. And this is the only place the baby will be safe. He even goes as far as to take his blood and use it to help feed the baby inside Fatima. Damn, this is weird. What follows is the town's unity in finding Fatima. Boyd assembles the troops, who all split up in the hopes of discovering where she could have ended up. On the flip side, Victor and Tabitha both continue to work towards discovering Victor's memories. We even get a father redemption arc for Jim. He gives Randall shit for taking Julie out, until he realizes that was to help show her how to drive and, be a kid. Jim goes through this arc here, where he was so hyper-fixated on Answer's survival that he overlooked simply being there for his kids with the little moments, and ultimately being the one to bring peace to Tabitha. As, not to brag, but as a good husband should. Jim says he hasn't been doing a very good job as a dad or a husband. He knows she is trying to make sense of this place. If there is a chance that it could lead them home, then he is in all the way. No more second guessing, no more pushing back. Both of them come closer together, forehead to forehead, caressing each other's hand. Tabitha says there's something Julie is of course not telling them, and Jim knows, which is ultimately her secret powers. We get the revelations of Boyd finally telling Ellis about his full condition with Parkinson's. Kenny also takes back the mantle of being the deputy in the wake that Boyd feels he may not make it through what is to come. Also, Sarah comes to the rescue with the voices, which have now returned since the ruins back in Season 1. They are warning her that something took Fatima. Now you may be asking, what are these voices? My guess is these voices are the souls of those that were lost in the town. There is no rhyme or reason as to who, at least we don't know yet, but she seems to be a storyteller that can chime in to the words of the dead. Now, what's interesting is we see cycles continue this season. Bacta takes over for the diner, the old bus driver. Victor resorts to his childish manner when taking an axe to chop down the tree, and a complete redirection of unity for the cast that has been somewhat absent since Season 1. Kenny becomes deputy again. Now this place is trying to break us all again. You can either lay down and die, or we could say, fuck you, per Boyd. We are taking our lives back. It is possible to fight back. We proved it once before, and I'm asking you for your help to prove it again. It is your choice. There is no shame in backing out. Boyd, you deserved an Oscar for this one. It is what it is. He finally resets the town's hope and creates search parties in groups of 2. The only one we will pay heavy mind to here is Elgin and Ellis, because of course Elgin goes with Fatima's husband. I also enjoy the cycle of townsfolk becoming warped by visions they see. You have Napoleon Dynamite back in Season 1, and now we have Elgin for Season 3. You have important walks here, which will go down the list of groups of 2. Acosta is trying to get deputized by Donna. Okay. Boyd reunites with Deputy Kenny. Awesome. Elgin promotes a what if Fatima's state is a good thing to Ellis. Wackadoodle. Jade and Henry have a nice good old talk. That's pretty much it. Then you even have Jim and Ethan with Thomas's radio in the broken RV, accepting that Thomas is truly dead, and this voice is just a trick from the town. Victor chopping down a bottle tree that started this all, so to speak, to the point that the boy in white begs him to stop, which I'm considering this a fun fact. Because in Season 2, we see the boy in white directly get involved. But here he keeps his distance, strengthening the idea for me that this little boy in white is Victor in some capacity. In Season 2, when Tabitha was at the lighthouse, he had no problem shoving her out. But now that Victor is trying to remove abilities for the town to survive and teleport, the boy in white he's like, oh, I'm not going to mess with you, and I think it goes farther than the axe here. Jade says that for starters as well, he would ask where the hell he has been his whole life. But Henry is trying to figure out how to fix Victor. You can't, because Victor is not broken. He is the product of what this place made him. He's been surviving here for decades. He's been shaped by this place. He's Tarzan, growing up in the jungle. And you are the guy who comes along and makes him feel like an asshole because he doesn't know how to use a fork. It's not rocket science. This talk here with Jade and Henry, absolutely love it. Now, for the grand reveal of oh shitness, Tabitha and Julie are guided by ghost kids, the Haktui kids, throughout this episode to the cellar, and where they might hear Fatima, the kimono ghost, covers her mouth as if she wants this birth to happen away from the others. However, Tabitha does find Victor down here with a nice little homage to the Blair Witch Project. She begins seeing visions of Miranda and Eloise the night that Victor survived the massacre. And in hugging Victor, it is revealed that Tabitha is Miranda, a reincarnation of her. We also get the glimpse of how Miranda died while Eloise is still undetermined, and I guarantee you, I know where she is. But more on that later. Miranda almost made it to the bottle tree until Mr. Smiley killed her. He even began running at her, which is quite interesting, and we'll talk about that soon. Leading to our most recent episode, we got a ton of action in quick succession with two storylines we will focus on. Ellis isn't stupid and realizes Elgin has something to do with Fatima's disappearance. At this point, her pregnancy is happening, so every second counts. Boyd, Sarah, Donna, Ellis, Kenny all work on trapping Elgin. He's rounding up some more stolen doctor supplies until, of course, Boyd catches him in the act, places him in the room, and begins torturing Elgin. There's a difficult scene to watch where Khatri appears to try and talk sense in Boyd, as what is done can't be undone. Until, after 3 seasons, Boyd officially breaks down and loses it, showing all the pain he's been holding for 3 seasons. He breaks Elgin's hand with a hammer, and really beats the shit out of this guy, only for Sarah to finish the job by stabbing out his eye and getting the info on where Fatima is located. Elgin does not die here, sorry to spoil it, but it is interesting how he has this injury that mirrors what the other guy had, the one that Jade saw in season 3, drinking blood from a skull. It's a one-to-one, a series of stories happening again. Boyd and crew head directly to the cellar and find the hidden room finally. Except Fatima is there in hysteria, pointing towards a hatch opened leading to the underground area. Ellis and Kenny bring Fatima to Colony House while Boyd heads down below, where he sees, this is some bloodborne shit. He sees the placenta that Fatima gave birth to, surrounded by the smiling creatures, all of whom look to be performing a ritual that, shit you not, brings Mr. Smiley back from the dead. Victor is arguably the greatest monologue of the show here, alongside Henry, when they go to visit the graves of Miranda and Eloise, while also confirming, yes, Miranda died, although he couldn't identify Eloise when he began burying everyone piece by piece. Victor straight up buried the entire town. Now here he wishes he was dead, wishing his dad never found him, because he hates the pain he brought his family. Of course, now Henry steps up to the plate, reassuring him he will never let anything happen to Victor. It's a powerful moment that echoes the same arc that Jim recently had. And speaking of Jim, Tabitha, and Jade all work together to attempt to figure out why Tabitha is, well, here if she dead. Jade makes a clear distinction. His visions are of scenes that shouldn't exist in this time. They are reminders, mirror images of people from the Civil War. This, from Tabitha, more clearly lines up with a memory. The 3 decipher that within their Venn diagram of visions connecting one another. Children are the center recurring element. Jade snaps at Jim. No, I'm sick and tired of getting dicked around. If you really want our help, if there's something you need us to understand, you are going to have to do a little better, because we are not getting it. You hear me? Message is not fucking received. So we are going to sit here and we are going to wait. And when you decide that you have something more to say, then fucking Haktui! You know where to find us. See, they discover that the children made the bottle tree. It was the kids. So the numbers inside have to matter. Jim runs a recap. There are 10 numbers. 2 of them are backwards. The 2s and the 7s. Jade confirms this. So Jim says, well, that means there are 12 numbers, not 10. Although Jade has tried every mathematical, astronomical, astrological, Babylonian, 12-point numerical cipher he can imagine. The zodiac, months of the year, fucking eggs in a carton. Jade has bent over backwards, twisting it into some versions of the Fibonacci sequence. There is nothing. Which is funny because Jim comes in as the goat he is and just says the simple answer. Aren't there 12 notes on a scale? Like a musical scale? So Jim single-handedly solves this riddle that plagued fans. Numbers are notes on a scale. Like the music box, this is a melody that needs to play. Jim mentions his mom being a music teacher and how music is the universal language across all forms of communication. Of course, Jade also begins hearing the music before it is played now, alluding to something that is a bit odd. As if Jade has experienced this before, we are now hitting some deja vu. With the messages being in the bottles, the three decide to head back to the bottle tree as Jade plays the notes with his violin. Tabitha and Jade can see the ghost children, but Jim still can't. They haktui their way to the tabs, and both Tabitha and Jade have the ability to recall what the word means. Haktui means remember. Tabitha finally gets it. I know why I see those children, why Jade can see them. It's why there's more than one bracelet. I kept making them. Somewhere deep down I remember. Jim says he doesn't understand anything that she is saying here. And Tabitha responds, it's because we've been here before, me and Jade, not you. The reason I felt what Miranda felt is because I was Miranda, and Jade was Christopher. We have come back over and over again because we failed the first time. Jade and I were here at the beginning. We tried to save those children and set them free because one of them was ours. She was our daughter. It's true. It's true. I feel it. And I need some time, honey. Can you give me some time? This revelation is a bombshell that Jim himself has no idea how to feel, ultimately walking his way back to the crashed RV at the beginning, the story coming full circle, having flashbacks to quotes Tabitha had said. This one actually brought a tear to my eye. Sometimes I remember what it was like when it wasn't like this, what it was like before. Jim's mind at this point is circling. It hits home, at the start of this journey, they were set to get a divorce. They were already in the process of doing it, and through all of the uncertainty, they were able to find and come together for the sake of their children to discover what is truly going on. Jim takes a deep breath, and then Julie out of nowhere sprints, warning him he needs to leave. Now, this is clearly a Julie from the future who is trying to save her dad, but as we know before, she can't change events. She can only see them from another perspective. And in comes the man of the hour, the man in yellow. He menacingly goes forward, making jabs at Jim, who in a choice of fight or flight, decides to stand up and protect Julie. Unfortunately, he is thrown towards the RV with this guy's superhuman strength, with the clear warning, your wife shouldn't have dug that hole, Jim. Mirroring exactly what he said to him in season 1 on the radio. And of course, ripping his throat out, thus killing Jim. And ending the season on one hell of a cliffhanger. So what all is going on? With the apparent nature of a 5-season show, the writers clearly have an ending in mind from the start. When it comes to the town itself, I think it's clear we have a Pandora's box dilemma here. Secrets of the origin of this town's power, alongside its implications for humanity and beyond, have been locked away with 3 types of keys. The time paradoxes in the story, the wormholes that are slowly breaking through into the real world, and the children from the ritual. These 3 elements are like the Triforce, keeping everyone in Fromville trapped. The town itself being a spiderweb of sorts, which is fitting because just like the web in season 1, once you're stuck, the harder you fight, the more trapped you become. Even like quicksand. Now, the town itself is a giant creature. Straight up, that's what we're looking at here. I fully believe this. If not because this story has a lot in common with one of my favorite indie horror games called Darkwood. If you haven't played that game, it focuses on a forest that has become alive, trapping people in this paradox of looping forests of never-ending misery, pain, suffering, infection, you name it. If you haven't played it, I highly recommend it. Still to this day, one of the greatest horror experiences I have ever played. whether alien or of this realm, that is yet to be known. If you remember Season 2 and how there was something that moved underneath the RV, you might be asking, well, what was that? Combine that with the symbol that was formed by unnatural root layouts that Jade looked up to at the end of Season 2. It all makes sense, especially when cross-referenced with parts of the town itself moving every single day. The town itself is alive. It's a monstrous being, perhaps a giant tree in the center of the forest, serving as the brain of the operations. The planet itself as we know it is alive with plants and photosynthesis and shit, so this honestly isn't too far off. In terms of how all of this began, lend me your ears. The man in yellow is clearly the big boss in charge, tormenting a lot of the townsfolk from behind the scenes. But why? See, during the Civil War, given the type of clothing he was wearing that fits that era, this man of sorts discovered a fountain of youth within the town. The lake, perhaps. Why does this matter? Well, during the Civil War, mass deaths kept piling up. Perhaps this fountain of youth was made at first to help those in need. There's so much bloodshed in the town. This would possibly explain what the town itself wants. It's trying to replicate life. From the electricity to the organs of those it consumes, it never fully grasps the human element. The organism itself, just like the townsfolk, simply wishes to survive. But you gotta be mindful too, with all the creatures that are spawning in this town, the town has seen so much bloodshed that it only knows pain. But it's seen hope. Hope through the Civil War, hope through so many implications within this town and the individual families. Which can also explain why the town itself is so evil. It's feeding and learning off of generations of humanity. It understands hope, but has witnessed so much pain, torment, bloodshed, that it focuses on that. Where do these rituals come into play now? Now, this power existed long before the Civil War. We can't officially date how long, but I feel this moment was a massive turning point. A long time ago, there was a village. There lived people. The current monsters, they were humans back then. There also lived a couple with their daughter. Let's say their name was Peter and Nita. Some evil power entity engaged the villagers in a dialogue, perhaps the early stages of the man in yellow as we know him now. It said that if they sacrificed their children, it would give them immortality, or maybe even save those that have been injured before. Classic literature. Everyone in town agreed, but Peter and Nita, they didn't. Their daughter was taken from them and made the part of the sacrificial ritual. Peter and Nita tried to save their daughter and other children, but failed. Now, in their pursuit, they may have also polluted the ritual or kept it from completing, distorting space and time as we know it, explaining why there is so much teleportation involved in this show. Their souls have the karmic debt of freeing the children now. To achieve it, they keep on reincarnating, but have failed every time. The town, the sentient being, knows that this story needs to be completed. Different people with the same archetypes as characters keep coming back. We don't know how many times they have tried it now. Eventually, Peter reincarnated as Christopher, and Nita as Miranda, as we know. They too have also failed. Then they reincarnated as Jade and Tabitha. When people reincarnate now, they lose the memories of their previous lives, but it's imprinted on their souls. Kind of like a fingerprint, so to speak. The children wanted them to remember their past life, which is a hard thing to do, but deep down they know it. Their soul carries those memories. Also, remembering the memories of the past can be very traumatizing, a deja vu, if you will. If Jade and Tabitha are successful in stopping this fucking nightmare and free the children, then Fromville will end. The monsters will be gone, the people of the town will be free and return to the real world. In terms of the powers of the town itself, that we're not too sure of. The souls of the children trapped in agony would be set free and achieve nirvana, or moksha, so to speak. Jade and Tabitha's souls would also be free of their debt as they achieve their goal. If they fail, the creatures and horrors in the town may also be released, consuming the world. Which brings to us this Pandora's box issue. Because you say, well, just fix the town and take care of the monsters. See, in the way that this story has been portrayed, both the creatures and those trapped in the town want to escape. They are trapped just as much as we are. While the man in yellow has learned to control his supernatural powers, as we can see, the town itself is still in charge. The man in yellow wants to break the chains of this town and spread its powers across the world with him as the leader. We will see the stakes escalate big time in Season 4, as people continue to tire out and he comes in possibly as a savior of sorts. Oh, feel free to give yourself onto our power. We'll save you from death, from fear, from pain. You will live forever. Except it's not forever. You become a soulless puppet, like the smiling creatures that walk through the town at night, hibernating during the day within the roots of the cave, the same roots connected to the tree at the center of the forest, pumping all the blood that this town has experienced, all the atrocities over the centuries. Or worse, you could become even one of the more hideous creatures that we have yet to see. I want to take a sidestep here because the man in yellow is an interesting villain, someone that I will also tell you has been around much longer than we have seen. So I was kind of going through some different lore, different mythologies of sorts. We do know with From that the focus of this season and previous seasons has really been manifesting the idea of cycles, stories repeating themselves. So who's to say the man in yellow isn't a splinter of, say, Odin? What's really fascinating too is the man in yellow could also be a shapeshifter, someone that is able to take multiple forms because of the powers he's harnessed from the town. I make the connection of him serving a lot like Odin, right? He's looking for intelligence, immortality, harnessing powers for his endgame. Look at Norse mythology. And if you don't know much about it, look at God of War Ragnarok, for Pete's sake. What does Odin always transfer into? He uses ravens to spy on those around him. We had the one in Season 3 that went through the window, causing chaos with Fatima and Tilly. Better yet, if you look at the fallen tree that every single person goes to, you know what's crazy? There's always a raven there. The man in yellow is watching who's coming into the town. He already knows so much about you before you have even set foot and said your name. That's how he's been able to really manipulate things behind the scenes. He doesn't show himself outright. It's a powerful twist on a character that I really love. And now that I've said it, when you go back and watch all these scenes, you can't unsee all the implications of the man in yellow also being these shape-shifting crows. Now, I want to take a pivot here because there was something that kind of came to my light. So the man in yellow wears a very distinct yellow coat. Now, this plays off another story in a fictional town called Carcosa that has appeared in numerous pieces of literature, most notably in Ambrose Bierce's An Inhabitant of Carcosa, and Robert W. Chambers' The King in Yellow, which I have read. Located beside Lake Haley under twin suns and black stars, it is often portrayed as a haunting, otherworldly ruin associated with the cosmic entity known as Hastur. It's also famously used in HBO's True Detective in Season 1 as a metaphor for a cult's sacrificial ritual site. But I digress. What I really want to focus on here is The King in Yellow, which I'll post the image on screen. It is an 1895 collection of short stories by W. Chambers, famous for its weird off-the-wall fiction that centers on a mysterious, madness-inducing play of the same name, which appears in the first 4 tales, influencing late horror writers like H.P. Lovecraft. The book is split into 2 distinct parts. The first half contains the interconnected supernatural stories, while the second half shifts to a romantic tale set in the Parisian art world, though the first half's dark legacy is really what cements it as classic literature. Now, take that for what it's worth. We have 2 parts, supernatural elements and a dark comedy of various romantic tales. From is full of this. A lot of it focuses on this horrific style of storytelling, supernatural elements coming to the forefront. And then at the same time, there's a lot of focus on relationships, right? Boyd and his wife. You have Ellis and Fatima. Now, the themes of this book: madness, the blurring of reality and dreams, art, cosmic horror. All of these are also direct connections to From. Art is a huge emphasis of this tale. Cosmic horror, really going to the nature of wormholes and such. It all fits really well. When we take a step back, the visions from Jade make sense in this theory here, as he is reliving battles that were fought on these lands before, previous stories, previous wars that failed. How many cycles have occurred is unknown and I would argue irrelevant to this story. All we need to know is the Civil War serves as nearly the breaking point for the borders of this town. Now both sides of good versus evil here are in a standstill, or a draw in chess, if you will. When a draw occurs in chess, both sides reset. Same with the good versus evil. Except in the show, we are at a point where the side of evil is close to breaking through and completing the ritual. The man in yellow is able to keep his memories. Everyone else seems to be losing them. We also learn that not everyone that comes to the town is a reincarnation. Some of them are freshly new. So a huge mystery in the next season is going to be, well, who's a repeating character? With the failure in said ritual, that would explain the reincarnation aspects of the show. So we got the clever nature of the man in yellow, the ritual itself, the town's entity, the wormholes. All of this now makes clear sense. Yet one detail does not. The man in yellow revealed himself in the instance of the cycle to kill Jim. He's also only revealed himself to Jim. While our main heroes may have forgotten the past due to reincarnation, the man in yellow has not. And I would argue he probably has not died yet. In this, I believe Randall is not the man in yellow, although that is a popular theory on the internet. But you must remember, it's a simple law of science, that matter is neither created nor destroyed, it can only transition from one form to another. This is clear as, again, Tabitha's birth date would match well with the date that Miranda died, for example. However, why is the man in yellow so obsessed with Jim's wife digging a fucking hole? Yes, it leads to an abundance of revelations, but so does so many moments in this show, like Boyd consuming the worms, or the radio frequency with Jim, Jade's violin playing the song, the music box, Victor literally surviving by himself for 40 fucking years. Why does the man in yellow get so pissed at homegirl Tabitha digging a hole? Perhaps it's a bait move like in chess. Convincing your adversary one move is the right to make. Maybe in the end the man in yellow wants the town to escape as it opens the door for them too. Maybe the only way to keep the world safe from the horrors within is to continue this time loop for eternity. Maybe that's why clues and information left behind are so cryptic. It's not that the next group of people coming need to win, they merely need to survive and in some cases pass the torch, extending the baton handoff to the next generation as best they can. Because we have to remember, if my theory of the shape-shifting men in yellow turning into crows is true, let alone other creatures, then he is able to see a lot more than what is going on. I will refrain giving my ideals for how the show will end, mainly because I know I'm probably going to be wrong. But with all this information provided over the seasons, this feels like the most concrete endgame setup for where the tale is eventually going. If I could pick one word that summarizes this entire series, it wouldn't just be family, it would be redemption. I think by the end of it, we're going to see a full circle mantra where every single character in one way or another, regardless of whatever story they follow, whatever nightmare is haunting them in this town, they are all looking for some form of redemption arc, one way or another. I think the same is also going to be for the man in yellow. We can't presume he was always inherently evil, because to be fair, no one is born with that in mind, as ethics tend to be a manifestation of the human subconscious, regardless of religious affiliation. For example, I find myself to be in the Christian realm. However, one thing is universal regardless of beliefs: the hope we all look for when it comes to going for a tomorrow, as well as protecting the ones we love. I could see a situation where the man in yellow, he's not going to be just so black and white. There's going to be a lot of shades to his character, and I can see a lot of symbolic representations of how people handle the sicknesses in their family. I mean, just look at where the series began. It began with a husband being unable to save his family. Now, compare that to all the other stories. You have Boyd, his connections with his wife and his son. You have the Matthews family. You have the Chen family. There are all these different layers of families and struggles within the town that ultimately will come full circle. How that happens, I'm not too sure yet, but if I could take a shot at where the series is going, expect it to end with that major thematic presence in the final episodes. Maybe we'll finally get the origin story for the Man in Yellow, a tragic tale for how a man got trapped and succumbed to all of the guilt, hatred, and violence that just brewed in his soul as the town slowly corroded him. I'd love to hear your theories, and I may come in to do season reviews or episode breakdowns going forward if you all kind of like the format. Comment below and let me know the vibes. And before we sign off here, I would like to do something special. Normally I have a music outro, but I want to take a second just to acknowledge all the amazing characters and actors that have worked on the show, even the production teams. They've all done a fantastic job bringing us all together as fans, and I think what really ties everything together is that emphasis of there's a lot of human connections within the show that mirror how we live and feel in our day-to-day lives. It's lightning in a bottle that works so well, and I just want to say a personal thank you to everyone that watches, as well as everyone that's worked on this show. What better way to bring in season 4 than to pay homage to all those that we've lost along the way?